Hello, welcome to episode 15 of Pedz' Game Shack. Today I have several guests with me because we're doing a special episode based around games of the year for 2022. So I'll start with, we have Jeffyard.
Hello.
Doomed Prinny.
Hello.
iLLfiNiTy.
How's everybody doing?
And lastly, Cumberdanes.
Howdy.
So basically, we are going to be doing a different to usual. As I said, it's going to be based around games of the year. We're not going to be talking about like a massive list of games each. For like, oh, these are my top 10. We're going to do probably our favorite game of 2022, our favorite game that we played in 22 that was not released in the year of 2022, and then maybe most disappointing and worst game. They don't have to be games that were released in 2022. It's just a general thing. The main thing is your game of the year has to be from 2022. That's all they. So we may as well start then. We'll start with... Maybe we start with like the worst game you played in 2022. And I'll start with by asking Jeff, simply because the way I've got the layout on the stream... on the recording, sorry. Jeff is like the top, so we'll start with Jeff. Everyone else is on the bottom.
Sorry, guys. Well, I mean, I guess the worst game, which I don't think I played it in 2022, but it would be like at the back end of 21, but definitely Tree Simulator 2022. Just because you didn't do anything apart from stare at a tree and blow around it. Yeah.
So there's literally nothing to it.
Yeah, Tree Simulator. But you didn't simulate a tree. You simulated a tree camera.
What made you decide to play this game?
So what was the point of it? Like, what did you actually do?
Actually,
Like, so I wanted to play the game because I consider myself quite leaf-like in that I'm quite versatile. And I wanted to prove that I could be a leaf. So I thought, okay, let's show a game where I can be one with myself and sort of get into character and what do you call it?
See,
Yeah.
where
You
going
didn't
wrong
even
there
finish
is
it, did you?
You should have played Flower.
Yeah.
I know. I
Flower is a
showed
fantastic
Flower
game.
as well.
Flower would have been a better game to play for you to be more like a leaf, even though I think you're petals. But to be one with a leaf because they're so versatile. Where the thing there for me, Jeff, is how are leaves versatile? They're either in a tree or on the floor crumpled up.
Yeah, but you can get like the little pricks, can't you? And then you can get
Wait,
big
is
broad
Jeff
ones.
Yard saying
Keep
he's
that
a
for
prick on
OnlyFans,
stream?
dude.
Or he has a little prick on stream?
I'm not.
In recording even?
You can
No,
also
Jeff,
get
turn your camera off. Turn your camera off.
We don't need to see details, Jeff.
Well, unless he zooms in a lot more, we ain't going to see many details. Little prick.
Talking about leaves.
You mean pine
Leaves.
needles?
Right. Okay, pine needles, big broad leaves, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're versatile. End of discussion. I don't even care about leaves, but and I don't care about Tree Simulator 2. That's why it's not my most disappointing game. Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
I thought it was actually the worst game that you played, not the most disappointing.
Oh, worst.
Most disappointing will be next.
Oh, right. Oh, well, yeah, it's the worst one.
To be fair, though, Tree Simulator doesn't sound like you do much like PC building simulator. You're building a PC car mechanic simulator. You're mechanic in a car. I know that is not the correct term, but you're doing engine work on a car or what have you. Whereas that Tree Simulator, you just, literally control a camera and look at a tree.
You just watch a tree.
Pretty much. You can control how fast the wind blows, and that's about it.
I mean, Tree Surgeon Simulator could have been a game, maybe.
Yeah. Like, I was expecting, like, maybe you'd be playing, winter will be coming, so like, okay, let's get rid of all these leaves, don't need them. Let's, do whatever we do, go into tree hibernation, and then come out, and then spread your leaves, and then try to attract bugs to eat your fruit and shit. But no, You just stare at a tree.
I can't believe that exists. That's just insane.
That's more like screen simulator, screensaver simulator.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had little to no interest in any simulator games, and I can't believe that that's actually one.
The
I
power
might make
washing
a
simulator is fun.
Yeah,
No,
Power
that's
Wash is
really
supposed to be
fun.
good.
I wanted to play the new Goat Simulator.
You were talking about that earlier, actually.
We were, before we started recording, we talked about Goat Simulator 3 and how there was never a Goat Simulator 2.
That's true. There wasn't.
Clever marketing ploy.
Isn't it? When I release my first ever game, I'm going to call it Mediocre Man Episode 64. 69.
There it is.
Damn it.
That's like the tactics of the jet shot.
Well, you could make it 64 and then
Because
just
he
have
calls
the
it the
top
jet
part.
shot Mark 4 or something, isn't it? And it's like, well, what happened to the rest of them? There is no rest of them. You just call it a higher number because it makes people think there's more.
That's where they went wrong with the Xbox One. Because they had an Xbox 360, then Xbox One, and everyone's like, yeah, it's worse. Well, you know.
I mean, it was, but
What about you, Prinny? What was the worst game you played in 2022?
So I was thinking in my head, like, what would differentiate worst and most disappointing? And what I figured is worst would have to be the game that I enjoyed the least, probably the worst for me to play, like via control, and yeah, it just sucked. And that, I think, for me, that was definitely Sonic Colors.
Ooh, really?
And I was, yeah. So I heard and I have watched people stream the Wii version,
Mm-hmm.
and I was really excited when they, done a new port for PS4, 5, PC, everything. And I was like, oh yeah, I wouldn't mind playing this 3D one. It looks kind of like the old school one. You're still going like a platformer and everything, and it's, yeah. And when I played it, and I know there was a lot of negative press, ignored it all, played it, and it was that bad. So the controls didn't work. And I compared it with other people who'd played it on different platforms. So I had it on PS4, and yeah, it looked great. Music, apparently they changed the award-winning soundtrack, so it was okay, but it wasn't as good as the original. I don't understand why, if it's not broke, don't fix it. But yeah, they changed it all, which annoyed original fans. And yeah, the playability was awful, and they didn't do anything to improve it. Loads of people complained. And I actually kept thinking in my head, no, it's my fault. My controller's broken. But no, a lot of other people said, no, the jump button doesn't work. So therefore, I didn't complete it. I did get further than I expected, but I was just so frustrated with it. I was like, oh, worst game, forget it.
Is it like
Gave
that on
up.
all editions, or just the PlayStation 4, or what?
Apparently, PC's better. Nobody's really said why, but yeah, for what was it? I don't know anyone who played on Xbox. I don't know, but yeah, anyone who played it on PS4 had issues. So I was like, oopsie, someone prematurely re-released this game. Yeah, it was terrible. And anyone who watched my streams felt the cringe with me, because I was just like, oh crap, I literally can't get past this bit because I have to jump up and it doesn't work. Double jump. Yeah, it was the worst thing ever.
That is actually rather annoying, because I actually bought that on Epic Store, I think it was. But I didn't even look at reviews. I didn't know anything about this. This is the first I'm hearing of it. I haven't got around to playing it yet because too many games. But that's actually disappointing, because I enjoyed Colours when I played it back on the Wii.
I think that's all I heard was how good it was. That's why I excitedly wanted to play this, and it looked great, and I loved everything about it. They made it really sharp. The music was great, but obviously when they changed it, okay, wasn't too bothered about it, but a lot of the original people who played it were like, nah,
Yeah.
better before, and they ruined it. And I was like, well, I can't even get past level 4 right now, so who even cares about the tracks to come? I will never hear them. Yeah.
Oh,
Some colours.
that's shite. That's very disappointing.
But you could always tell me if you did get around to playing it on PC, if it was, playable.
I will. I will keep you informed. At the moment, I'm playing Sonic Frontiers, so I won't be playing another Sonic game for a little bit.
At least Sonic Frontiers is good, guys.
Well, I'm enjoying it so far, I say.
I mean, I've not played Sonic Frontiers, but it looks pretty fun. So
Yeah.
It looks better than shite.
And
That's what I'll
and
say about it.
and you can jump, but you don't have to rely on jump to finish the game, so it's great.
Yeah, because they went open world with that one, didn't they?
No,
Isn't it?
like
Kinda.
open zone.
It's not quite full
Open zone.
Basically,
it's
they've
got, like, a
made
bit
it.
of everything.
The game is semi-open world, but they just give it a different name and called it open zoned.
Yeah.
It's no different,
It's like-
really, to
It's like a series of smaller maps rather than like one huge one.
yeah, plenty of games like it before, but for some reason they've decided to give her a new name. Yeah.
That's the structure in I was talking about it earlier on a different stream. It was destroy all humans. That's how that's structured. It works really well.
Yeah, I think Pokemon Arceus is the same semi-open world, and I like that. Right, so iLLfiNiTy, what was the worst game you played in 2022?
This was a tough call because I feel like this really probably could fit for most disappointing. I'll come up with something else for that if I can. But it was a game called Restless Soul, and it was a game that I was incredibly excited for because I saw a trailer for it like very early on in the year. And so it's a game where you play as this ghost. The entire world is set up in black and white in like your 16-bit sort of style, or your 8 or 16-bit style, but it has, 3D elements to it. There was supposed to be, a lot of comedy to it. It kind of made me think like it could have been something like an Undertale. And then there's also supposed to be like, some bullet hell mechanics or kind of challenging bosses and sections of the game. And it really, really dragged. It didn't have as much of a story as you would think a game like that would have. And it just ended up being like a lot of kind of either forced jokes or just really, really obvious puns that really, really didn't keep me invested in the game. So I couldn't even see it through to finish it. I was really bummed because, again, the style of it was really cool. And I thought that they really could have done something neat with it, but yeah, I feel like it kind of got in its own way with being so focused on the humor aspects and, not enough of an interesting kind of combat style or puzzles even to really keep me engaged.
Sounds like that could very much, like you said, be your most disappointing game more than worst, because if you were really looking forward to it, and then it turns out to be crap.
Yeah, it really was. Especially if you check out a trailer, like it looks like it could be a really, really cool game. But yeah, the joke's not really landing. Again, getting the feeling like it was trying to almost be an Undertale, but not having like the charm or the sweet characters to it, and just a lot of just bad kind of slapstick or soul. Very nice. Yes.
Yeah, it's just googling it actually. It does look pretty cool from what you were saying. So it's a bit of a shame that it's didn't live up to expectations.
And I love my games that'll be in black and white too. So I just really had a lot of high hopes for that one.
It's always
Sounds
bloody
like
problem with games when it's like it can look good and then you get to them and it's like, why did I pick this game up?
Yeah.
Why did I waste my money?
That was definitely the feeling.
Let's hope Mediocre Man 69 isn't like that.
So it's an RPG then, like Undertale then?
Like definitely story-wise and kind of with the offbeat characters and some of the humor. I feel like, for lack of a better game to compare it to, I feel like that was kind of the style they were going for. Because you're a recently deceased person, so you're introduced to all these new characters. you've got the guy that's I can't even remember now if it was actually Death or just like the guy at the front desk that was kind of in charge of like seeing you around, and you have like the recurring characters that show up, but it just wasn't there for me.
That's a shame.
Yeah.
Well, I may as well move on to Cumberdanes and see what his worst game he played in 2022 was.
I think a lot of people might already know what my worst game of 2022 was, and I hate to say it because it's a very, very good game, and it's Elden Ring.
Ooh.
I detest that game.
I do wonder why, because I remember loads of points where we talked about it. You were really enjoying the game. Do you think you just
played it so long? I think I was just I was sick of it. I'd had enough of it by the end. I just wanted it done, and I don't think I've ever felt so relieved. Like, not really happy to finish it. I was relieved that it was done, and it felt really cathartic. Deleting it from my hard drive and selling it to CX, and I could quite happily never play it again.
That's crazy because it's many people's game of the year. I
just don't think that kind of game's for me anymore.
No, that's understandable. For me, like, I really enjoyed the game. I didn't play it as long as you did. I put in about 90 hours, I think. Whereas I think you put in like 200 odd.
Yeah, it was something like 188, 190 hours maybe I put into it.
Yeah.
Man.
So do you think it's genuinely you played it so much you just went off the game?
Yeah, I think I'd played it for so long it was too much. I think I just had enough of it.
Yeah.
I was actually talking. I had to sort of check what year certain games came out because it was either going to be that or My Friend Peppa Pig. But that came out in 2021, I think.
Oh, did it?
That's also garbage.
Yeah.
Oh, she's not getting money. She's a spoiled brat. She's not helping children of old age. Oh.
My criticism with Elden Ring, I think I've seen someone on G Arcade, the forum that me and Pedz are on, and someone had a very similar criticism. When it's an open world game and you can just take off and do what you like, it's actually a really good game. But when it remembers it's a Souls game and you're forced down a specific route, that's when it falls down, in my opinion.
Do you reckon having Peppa Pig in Elden Ring would improve it, or
if you could stab her repeatedly,
I'm down for that.
Turn her into bacon.
Someone make a mod quick.
Definitely Elden Ring for me. I even I cancelled my pre-order for it. I wasn't going to get it, and it's almost like peer pressure because I was like, "Come on, we all know I'm going to get it at some point."
Let's just get it out of the way.
Because I've played every other Souls game, so we all know I'm going to play it. And sure enough, I went out and bought it on the day it came out.
I do have a bit of Elden Ring trivia, actually. Yeah, it's actually originally going to be called Elden. And Beyonce came up and she went, if you like that game, put a ring on it.
As soon as you said Beyonce, I'm like, I know where this is going.
Was it worth it, Jeff? Was it worth it?
We can't hate on Beyonce though. We can hate on Jeff.
Yeah. That's what we're doing, hating on Jeff. Yeah. Jesus, Jeff. You just lost 10 credibility points.
And you only had 9.
At least I've got Beyonce on my side.
Yeah, definitely worst game of the year for me. Elden Ring.
That's genuinely surprising. But each to their own, as they say. Well, they actually say to each his own or to each their own, whatever it is. But gives a shit.
I was kind of hoping I would get away without playing Warlong when that comes out, but it's bloody Game Pass day one, isn't it?
Yep. Yes, it is.
And I've already played the demo of it, and I think there's some stuff that transfers over from the demo to the main game as well. So I'm not like even more reason to play.
I'm trying to think. The worst game I played in 2022 was not a game released in 2022, I'll be honest. It was released in 2019, I think. So it's like 3 years past its release, but I have to mention it because we played it for the podcast. And it's a game called Shadow Corridor. Some wonderful person who I'm really glad came on the episode to talk about it. Introduced me to the game to play. I got further than them in the game, as they pointed out just now. And they didn't like it either and deleted the game. So I genuinely really disliked it. It's basically like a horror game, right? You can't attack or anything that I'm aware of. Which is fine. There's been plenty of games like that, but it's literally you are walking around corridors in the shadows. The game lives up to its name, Shadow Corridor, and you're like in a feudal Japanese house, and it's just so boring, and you get lost constantly.
Looking at screenshots of it, it looks decent.
Oh, player.
Good, but it just didn't give you enough prompts on where you had to go, what you had to do. I was said person. If you've heard Pedz's previous podcast, I played it. It was like an indie game on the Nintendo eShop, and I like horror survival. So I was like, yeah, this looks like my kind of game. You run around and you hide under chairs and closets and whatever. But actually, you were in a corridor on the street, which was more interesting, to be fair. But like, I don't know what it is that killed you, really. Pedz got further than me, and I was like, Pedz, how are you surviving? He was like, I don't know. No, nothing's touching me. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Every door I opened, a flash of light would happen, and I was dead. And then Pedz was time traveling. Wow, what? Where? So it was interesting. I wish I could figure out the game, like, because Pedz was playing it quite well. That's why I was really surprised when he turned around and went, this is the worst game I've ever played in my life. I was like, well, okay, you're probably near the end of the game. Come on, Pedz, just finish the game, man.
I played Mega Man X6.
Tell me why they time travel. Just tell me.
I don't know. You're walking around, you end up going to this place, and then the game's like, yeah, you're going back in time. And at least that's what it seems like. And then you're walking around this feudal mansion, it must be, because it's massive. And you're just constantly getting lost. There's nothing, like, everything looks the same. There's nothing that really differentiates anything from anything else. So you're constantly just going, have I been here? Yeah, I've been here. And for all I know, it could be a completely new area, but I wouldn't know, because it looks exactly the same as everywhere else I've been. It's awful.
Yeah, that sounds pretty bad, actually. That sounds like when I was playing Blair Witch. Like getting lost in that, because everywhere just looked the same. Admittedly, you are in a forest in that, but still, it was annoying.
See, I really enjoyed Blair Witch.
I enjoyed it overall. And when I realised that you actually looping.
Yeah. That was
I thought
the beginning.
I was getting lost, but I was looping.
Yeah, at the start, it's just a loop until you find something specific.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, what am I doing? And then you find that, and then it's pretty straightforward from there. But like, I never finished that. I finished Blair Witch, but I never finished it with the good ending, because hearing about how you do it, I was just like, nah, chance. I can't be bothered with that.
The game's quite clever, actually, in that respect. It tricks you into getting the bad ending. Yeah. It very subtly manipulates how you play to try and make you get the bad ending.
It's disgusting. I'm a nice person. But yeah, Shadow Corridor, you belong in the bin.
I don't buy anything on the Switch anyway, so there's no chance of me buying it.
I don't know if I bought it on the Switch or like the PC, but I can't remember. I think it was the Switch.
Buy games on the Switch and then they just sit there.
Well, the Switch store's terrible. It's really expensive and it's just full of hentai.
Jeff's happy.
Seriously, the amount of like erotic games on the Switch is insane. It's full of them. It's almost as bad as Steam.
Didn't you play an erotic game, iLLfiNiTy? What was that game called? Honey Pop?
Oh yeah, my man like Jeff here bought it for me.
When we get to game,
like Bejeweled or something. It's like a match 3 game, but with like a dating sim attached to it.
I have no idea. I've not played any hentai games, to be honest with you. I have no interest in them. You know?
I also, for the record, I have no idea. But it was a nice thought, Jeff. Thank you.
I searched RPGs.
And that just happened to be the first one that came up, huh?
No, because I think it's before payday, so I needed it to be under a specific price point.
All right,
But
yeah.
he-
Speaking of
But it sort of
RPGs,
was 5 out of 5. He was like, and it's a good game too. This won't disappoint me.
Speaking of RPGs, right? Before we started recording, just a little tangent. Jeffyard tried to convince me and Prinny that FIFA is an RPG.
Excuse me?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Hang on. You've got stats with your little footballers, yeah? It's just like going into an RPG battle. In fact,
Captain Tsubasa is an RPG.
Yeah,
that is literally like a football RPG.
Barry or something was an RPG. It was turn-based football RPG, but FIFA, you can kiss my ass, Jeff.
Interestingly enough, when the battle director was creating the battle scenes for Final Fantasy 1, it did actually base the sort of left to right off American football. Only slightly, but that's quite interesting.
Yeah, it is pretty interesting. I remember when they made the first Zelda game, they based it off of football, and that's why Link runs around with a sword. So,
Yeah, also a fact that is quite interesting.
Yeah.
Neither really help your case, Jeff, but they are interesting facts.
I mean, I wasn't saying it in... I don't know, I just think there might be some similarities. It might not all be, if you look deep enough, you might be able to spot some trends.
Wow. Was that a little jab there?
No, not at all.
Okay, all right.
Hey, you said that I had a small prick about...
You said that.
You said you had a small prick.
And you all laughed in agreement.
You said that leaves were very versatile. You had regular leaves and then you had small pricks.
Versatile.
I don't know how you can blame us for you saying you have a small prick. We'll move on to most disappointing game of the year that you played in 2022. We'll go in reverse order, so we'll start with Cumberdanes, and we will ask Cumberdanes, what was the most disappointing game you played last year?
Yeah, I've got a good one lined up for this as well. It was something I was really looking forward to.
Elden Ring.
Because I really like the game that it kind of originates from. It's got a bit of convoluted history, but the game is iLLfiNiTy Chronicle Rising.
Oh, so it's not Peppa Pig.
No, iLLfiNiTy Chronicle Rising, which is like a reboot. Well, it's almost like a shop's own brand version of Suikoden, pretty much. Because the director of Suikoden hasn't got the rights to it because Konami owns it or whatever. So he made his own, basically.
Yeah.
The full game is due out sometime this year, but iLLfiNiTy Chronicle Rising is like a precursor to it, and if you finish it, some things carry over to the full game. There's a lot to like about it, but it's like at best maybe 8 to 10 hour game dragged out over like 25 hours.
Yeah, I actually remember you
all just
streaming
boring side quests. Like when you're actually progressing the story and doing stuff, it's really good. But then you get back to town and it's like, do my laundry. Oh, by the way, I dropped my chopping axe in the forest. Can you go and find it for me? And everyone's got some dumb little task for you to do. It's just busy work, the video game.
Yeah, I watched a friend play that, and that's what they said too, and that's what I could see. Just so much busy work that didn't need to be there.
Yeah, it's all side quests. Like I say, it's like about a 10-hour game, dragged at best, dragged out to maybe 25, 30 hours of just pointless busy work.
Can I ask, am I right in thinking that the game, once you finish it, has more side quests to do?
No, you can redo all the side quests to max your levels out.
Oh, no.
I didn't twig it was the side quests looping when I played it. I thought it was a new set of quests, and I was like, "What the fuck is it not done yet?" Then I think like my brother was in the chat, and he was like, "No, it's just the same quests again." And I was like, "Yeah, screw that, I'm done."
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Like, I'm not doing all the same quests again when they were boring the first time. And it's a shame because I really wanted to like it, and I was looking forward to playing it as well.
Yeah, it
So-
sounds genuinely disappointing, but it sounds like there's a good game buried in there. If they removed a
there
lot of
is.
the side shit, that like the
I
busy
think
work.
not necessarily remove the side stuff. If they put in more main stuff,
Right.
if there was more to the main game, I think I could tolerate the side quests. But the
Yeah.
fact that most of the game is side quests, it needs to be a bit more balanced, I would say.
Did you at least get to know the characters?
Kind of. There's only really three. There's
But
like
the-
there's a little
are they-
girl who's like a traveler who like you've got to leave your village to go on a pilgrimage. It's like a coming of age sort of thing. You've got to go and find these magical lenses in the ground, and her fifth father found a huge one years ago, and she wants to find an even bigger one, and that'll be like how she helps the tribe move on. There's a sort of a kangaroo bloke who's a bounty hunter, and then there was like a mage girl who was kind of generic. I think she was the mayor of the town.
Can I ask,
Where
when
the
you say
game's set in.
kangaroo girl, do you mean an actual kangaroo girl, or are you just saying she's an
No, man,
Australian?
he's a man who's a kangaroo. His name is actually Garoo.
Oh, right,
He's a,
okay.
he's a humanoid kangaroo, like that movie Warriors of Virtue.
Not
Or
seen
Tank
it.
Girl.
Or
I've seen
Kangaroo
Tank Girl,
Jack.
but I can't remember it.
Yeah, like the Rippers in Tank Girl, they were like kangaroo men.
They had a kangaroo man in that show, yeah. What's Tank Kangaroo Man?
Tank Girl's a movie, but there was like a race of kangaroo people called Rippers.
Yeah, but
They
wasn't
live
she banging
underground.
one of them? I think she was, right?
No, she has a human boyfriend at the start of
Oh.
the movie. There's a scene where she's like getting her clothes cut up with scissors,
Kinky.
all erotically. Like I said, of stripping off, she's like gradually cutting her clothes away with scissors.
Yeah, I wouldn't waste my clothes.
But yeah, Iron Chronicle Rising could have been really good, but just wasn't. I'm hoping that when the full game comes out, that it's good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a bit shitty to hear that from Cumber because I've actually kickstarted the full game, and everyone on Game Pass got to get Ayuden Rising, and I was really gutted because I was like,
Oh, yeah, I'm going Game Pass, right?
so I was really pissed off about that. And I looked in the Kickstarter to see where the chance was to get this, and there wasn't any. So I'm waiting for the physical version to come out, which is coming out March. So obviously everyone's said their piece on it, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm still gonna play this game. I can't not play the game because I've played the whole Suikoden franchise, and I know how important it is for play all the games and then do the load the save file from the previous game and
Yeah.
how it affects all the conversations and endings and stuff. So I'm just like, oh,
If
I might
they
love
want
it. I'm
they
gonna
wanna
ignore
pack it-
everyone. I might love it. It's fine.
I think
They're
the
gonna pack
highlight
it
of
with a bunch of
Ayuden,
errands. Just put that on the side. Like, let me skip all the BS errands.
I think the highlight of Ayuden Chronicles was one of the bosses looks like two big hairy cocks. I think it's supposed to be. I think it's meant
Jeff
to
ain't
be
gonna
two
play.
Yetis.
I'm so jealous.
Like I'm pretty sure it's meant to be two Yetis, but just the way they're drawn, it just looks like two big hairy cocks.
This might be a game that Jeff needs to gift iLLfiNiTy in the future.
I'm going to gift him Treat Simulator so we can see a small prick.
Send him a dick pic.
Already have.
That's my disappointing game anyway.
That's fair enough. iLLfiNiTy, what about yourself? What was your most disappointing game of 2022?
So my most disappointing game, I wouldn't say it was a bad game. I still enjoyed it, played it through to the end, but it was Trek to Yomi. That's the
Alright.
the side-scrolling
Yeah.
samurai game. Again, in black and white. I do play games in color as well. But it definitely, like the aesthetic and the music was really, really great. Really pretty game. Really going with like the Kurosawa kind of vibes and all of that. But the big letdown for me was the combat and the lengthy repetitiveness that it had. It was too long, and it was great to like see the different backgrounds and the different areas that you would go, because you'd be in some of the real world, and then you were kind of in like this underworld or this dreamlike state, and all of that was really cool. But it got so overblown with just the same kind of minions, time in and time out. Pretty early on, you realize that there's a pretty simple combo that you can do, and you use that on pretty much everything. So there were, I want to say, 3 or maybe 4 boss fights that were really, really cool. Like, I loved those because obviously you had to use different strategy to get by those, and those took me a while to beat those bosses. But then everything in between, other than just seeing how great the game looked, was just running up to the next enemy or a couple of enemies, hitting the same 3 buttons, and then moving on to the next one. So still probably one I could say, you know, worth checking out if someone's interested, especially if you like that style of game. But that was really disappointing that so much of it was just...
Yeah. Basically, it's worth playing, but keep your expectations in check.
Yeah. And just know there's going to be some long... Yeah, and just know there's going to be some long stints there where, other than the game looking great, you're probably going to be pretty bored.
That's a shame, because it did look good. I haven't played it myself. I may have like done a little bit right at the start for a Game Pass quest, but not very much at all. Like literally like say 5 minutes in the game. But it looked really nice. It's just a shame that gameplay wise is a bit lacking.
Yeah. And like I said, enough there for me that I still played it through. And there's a couple different types of endings you can get, which is kind of neat, depending on what way you decide to take your character. With either redemption or just kind of going down that dark path. But yeah, could have been better.
So was it just a bit bland to play then after a while? After you found out the good move to kill everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's all just on like that 2D kind of framework. So you either have enemies running up behind you or in front of you. And I want to say it was basically like if you had the block timing down, you could block them, which would automatically stun them. And then there was like a 2-hit combo that you could do that would pretty much wipe them out. It was something like that where yeah.
Because when I saw you play, it did look really fun. So yeah, that's a shame.
Doomed Prinny. What were you disappointed with in 2022?
Oh man, anyone who watched my earlier streams last year will know exactly what I'm about to say. And this was a game that's mainstream, really popular, high acclaim, had a sequel, and I played that sequel, and it just was the most disappointing thing I've ever played. And that was Persona 5 Strikers. And everyone goes on about how amazing Persona... Was it Royale? Was it Golden as well? There's like so many different versions of 5 because it was so popular. So then they decided, well, we're going to do the sequel, which is going to be Warrior style, called Persona 5 Strikers. And I was like, oh, yeah, because the other one looked a bit too chatty for me, and all they did in this game was talk. Like,
See, what I've seen of that, it doesn't even look like a Musou game. There's not enough enemies.
It's mad. The fighting's not even that fun. And I was sitting there thinking I should have just played like Royale, because Royale is my type of game. It's turn-based. And yeah, you don't get to actually appreciate the character designs of the bosses. And it just, oh man, I was so disappointed, because there's so much I wanted to know. And the thing is, because they assumed that you played the previous game, they just didn't have anything in there about the characters or the background or anything, or no recap, which I thought was the only thing they could have added in to make it slightly better. But yeah, because it's a very stylish game. It looked beautiful, and no one's like, the music was amazing, all of that was great, but it was just really frustrating, because I'm sure like there was several streams that I've done where I'd do like 3 hours of just pure, I'm pressing the button just to go through the text. text, text, text. And then I'd have like 45 minutes of action and I'd die. Half the time I just forgot what I was doing because I'd be so mind-numbingly bored with them talking about food. That's all that happened in the game.
Talking about food for 3 hours, damn, that's my kind of game.
Jeff's definitely been in that stream where like everyone's like I've had people come in and out of streams going, oh, you're at the same bit like 2 hours later, and I'm like, yeah, they just won't stop chatting shit. Like, oh, it was very
it's not even good conversation about food, Pedz. It's just
see
bland.
See, I think I put off a lot of people off that game, and I didn't mean to because I had high expectations. And there's loads of people recently who've been saying to me, "Oh yeah, we're really interested in playing Persona." And I'm like, "Oh, from the start? No, from 5." And I'm like, "Ooh, okay, I'm gonna walk out of this conversation because I don't really want to be biased, but it's really hard for me to pretend I liked it when it was so soul destroying." And then people just come in and be like, "Oh God, you're doing nothing." It's like, I am. I'm scrolling. I'm reading. I'm scrolling. I'm reading. Why don't you just watch the beginning of my VOD? And it's like, just got to a point where I just kept getting lost because there was no point in any of the conversations. So I'd be like, "So what am I going? What am I doing?" I know they
you just gotta start tuning out.
Yeah, and like. And I know loads of people who've played it, enjoyed it, and who've speedrun it like in 10 hours. And I'm like 15 hours in, and I'm like, I don't know, not even halfway. And I'm like, God, there's more of this? Oh, someone help me. Like, I was like asking a couple of my friends, like, can you like just guide me through this so I can just get through it? Because I can't, like, my attention span had been overheated and like driven over, and I just had no interest in it. And the thing is, it's a beautiful game, and I really liked the look of it and the characters, and I wanted to know more, but it was just so boring.
I've not really played a Persona game, so like
if you
sorry, I've played
4
Golden a fair bit. I got to like the 3rd dungeon or something.
I don't think I could play a Persona game. Like,
the thing is,
too chatty, too weeby.
Oh, the thing is, so it got weeby from 4, right? But if you play the original games, they were a lot darker, a little grittier, really fantastic story, but then they wanted to make it more commercial, so 4 became really weeby to appeal for merch. Like, so, you know, waifus, husbandos, stands.
All that dating teenagers stuff, it's weird.
But the thing is, I've played 4. 4 was great. I actually watched the anime for it too. So that's why I thought I'm going to like 5. But 5 was just too much procrastinating on irrelevant things. And I guess they just thought, yeah, let's focus on the characters, get to know what their favorite color and food is. And it's like, I really don't give a shit now. I'm so bored after the first 15 hours of chatting. It was just gone. Whereas 4 had a really good mix.
And 5's already so damn long. Well, if you couldn't tell us what we need to know about these characters in 5, we didn't need a sequel to do more of it.
I know. See? Exactly, and all the characters I despised came back again in Strikers, and it was like, because I watched people stream 5, so I didn't go in there blind. I knew what was it, but it's like, oh my God, I guess I prefer watching someone else go through that horror and torment or frustration. I didn't want to go through that. I get those hours back. Yeah, 4 was great. 3, 4 great. I haven't played 1 and 2, so I can't comment. But 5, oh my God. What happened?
Persona Fever 1 with a dog?
Yes.
And Persona 5 as Morgana?
Yeah. 3 had the really cute dog. I think he has a pipe in his mouth. No, he has a throwing star in his mouth. And that's how he fights.
The dog with the pipe is Tales of Vesperia.
Tales of, yeah, that's it. So then
he has a pipe.
Yeah, so 3 had the cute dog, and then 4 had the weird round teddy bear guy. He's actually called Teddy. And then 5, you have the perverted cat. Yeah.
And constantly tells people it's not a cat.
Yeah, and then it slags everyone off and it pervs.
To be fair, that cat sounds like Rocket Raccoon, who always tells everyone he's not a raccoon, but he looks like a raccoon.
Rocket's got personality, man. Morgana's just really whiny. And doesn't help you with the game. The mascots normally give you clues to the game. Morgana does nothing. Morgana actually looks really cute as a normal cat and then turns into a chibi cat and becomes really useless. And it's like, oh. I don't even think, I don't even like looking at you on the screen. You just infuriate me. Bad.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you were very disappointed with that.
And I like JRPGs, so yeah, out of nowhere that destroyed it for me. But hey, there are people who like it. Just wasn't stimulating enough for me, unfortunately.
It cannot be helped. Sometimes you get a game you're looking forward to, and it just shits the bed. Or doesn't shit the bed, but just doesn't live up to the expectations you've been led to believe about it. That doesn't make sense, but I know what I mean, and that's what matters.
If I was
Too bad when you see a franchise that takes something that's really successful too, and then they think, well, the fans we have isn't enough, so we need to tweak it and do something different to bring in more people. It's like you put off the fans that you originally had.
Yeah.
I suppose the thing with Warriors Tycoons as well is like you've got to really like the source material because there's that many of them and they're all basically the same.
Yeah.
Like I really like Hokuto Muso, like the Fist of the North Star one. That's really good because I like Fist of the North Star. But I wouldn't play, say, like Gundam Warriors because I have no interest in Gundam. I would just find it really boring.
I've never been into Muso games, but I did enjoy 99 Nights on the 360 for some reason.
And
I don't know why.
Dragon Quest 1 is really good. I need to play the sequel to that, Dragon Quest Heroes. That's really good. But again, I like Dragon Quest. So I like the source material.
Jeff, what did you find very disappointing in 2022?
Finding out I've got a small prick.
You found that out. Well, I assumed you found that out way before 2022 when you looked on your pants. But
I'd probably say Mega Man X3, and you might think, oh, why that one's disappointing. Yeah, exactly. I think because I went into it expecting X6 to be shit, so.
X6 is by far a worse game.
But X3, I sort of, I think I had pretty good expectations for that one, and that one I found really tough, really weird to root through, and yeah, just compared to X1, X2, and X4. Well,
wait, you played X1, 2, 4, then 3?
No, I went X1, 2, and 3, 4. But,
I know.
Yeah, I think compared to the surrounding ones, it's definitely the outlier. But I think it's made by a different studio, wasn't it? X3.
I'm not sure. I just know that X6 can literally. I will never ever play that game again. If I ever do a full run of the Mega Man series, like, again, I haven't finished every Mega Man game. If I decide to finish it off and then start again, I will skip X6 because I'm not playing it again. I would rather stab myself in my balls.
Wow.
Ouch.
I guess the stabbing's faster.
Criticism.
Yeah. I think Pedz likes that though. I think that means he likes X6.
Is X6 the one with the weird kangaroo who seems to like being hit?
No, that's X7.
X7 is better than X6.
Yeah.
X7 at least tried something different, and the 3D sections are not great, but the 2D sections are by far better than X6's fucking travesty of a game. I don't know what they did to X6. They must have given it to the student who just started working for Capcom and said, "You make X6 while the rest of us go have a wank."
Which is the one with the big transformer guy in the background throughout the whole level?
6.
That's X6, yeah.
That's X6, the big yellow Megatron looking guy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know the one you mean then.
That's,
that looked bad. I remember both you and Jeff streaming it. It looked bad.
X5 was supposed to be the last one, and then I think it came out the same year as well. Capcom wanted to release X6, so we developed X6 in about 8 months.
Oh wow!
It shows.
Sort of rushed out, right.
Yeah, music was good.
Well, that's
Yeah.
something, I guess, right?
Exactly.
So X3, is that the X game you like the least?
Yeah, but it's. I found it is. I mean, maybe X6 will be down there too, but X3, I went into it thinking that I'd like it, if that makes sense, which is why I'd say it's.
Yeah, coming off the back of X1 and 2, you're going to be like, oh yeah, you know, they don't get bad till the last 3, people reckon. But I only thought X7 was meant to be bad, and I preferred it to X6. X8 is fine as well.
I really liked X8. X7 was functional, at least, unlike X6. It's just a bit bland, but yeah, X6 is just X6.
So X3, most disappointing game you played last year. I didn't realize you played through all the X series last year.
Yeah, might recall that as the first of one of my friends to beat the X series, actually.
Do you know what? I genuinely believe that X6, because I disliked it so much, it took me months and months to finish it because I just didn't want to play it. Otherwise, I would have finished it before you bastard. X6 looked good, it'd been a different story.
You know what I'm hearing? Wah, wah, wah.
Knob. You small prick.
I know what your disappointing game about 2022 is going to be. X8, because, you know, you couldn't finish it in time. Move on.
Hey, sometimes it's good to make things last a little longer. You know what I mean, Jeff?
And sometimes it's not size that matters. You know what I mean?
Hey, I'm not the one who commented about your penis. You were the one who did.
I was talking about leaves. You just happened to think, oh, this leaf must be a dick.
Because you said small prick.
Yeah, because I was talking about the pine needle things.
But when you're describing about how you're a leaf and you bring up a small prick, you can see where you get that connection, right?
I think you're stretching.
You could have just said pine needle.
Yeah, I couldn't think of a word.
Speaking
I
of
believe, not a dictionary.
What was I going to say? Speaking of, as you did mention, you know what my most disappointing game of 2022 is. You'd actually be surprised with what I'm going to say. Out of all the games I played in 2022, I'm going to pick a game that was released in 2022 for this. And it's actually, genuinely, it's not a bad game. I enjoyed it, but I was disappointed. And that was Pokemon Violet.
Oh.
At the end of the day, like, the Pokemon is a game series I've played since Blue. I've had Blue, Red, then I had like Silver, Crystal, and so on and so forth. But one of the things I always wanted was a fully realized open world Pokemon game. And we finally have that with Violet and Scarlet. The issue for me is the game is such a fucking janky mess. It's really ripped the wind out of the sails of the first ever fully open world Pokemon game. And it's, because of that, a massive disappointment. Like, yeah, I had fun playing it. Just because I'm disappointed, it doesn't mean I didn't like the game. I'm disappointed because it could have been so much more if Game Freak put more time into it. Like, normally Game Freak they have their games come out at the same time as the anime and whatever else. Like, the Paldea region stuff isn't happening until March this year, so why did the game have to come out in November last year? On top of that, you had something like Pokemon Sword and Shield, then DLC, then more DLC, then Arceus, then Scarlet and Violet all within like 2 to 3 years. It was just like, why not spread that out a bit?
I wanted to ask you too, as someone who hasn't played those newer ones, and seeing people play Arceus and then Violet Scarlet, did it feel like Arceus was that step in kind of a new creative direction, and then Violet Scarlet feels like a step back?
Yes, that is exactly right. I think I enjoyed Violet. I enjoyed Arceus more. I think that was going in a new, like you said, a nice fresh new direction for the series. And then they kind of like pulled back on that for Scarlet and Violet, and it's like they kind of went more traditional with certain things, and I think that kind of put a dampener on it in itself. Like,
and you'd like to see him just go for it too. It's like, you are the biggest IP of all time. Just
exactly. There's
whatever
no
you make
reason
is going
for
to
it.
make money.
Yeah, it's like they don't want to put in not so much the effort, because obviously like the devs and that are probably putting in a lot of effort, but there's not like they're not putting the resources in, and they've got those resources to do it. The franchise is fucking massive, so why is it so lackluster? Like you said, you've got this
license to print money in it.
Yeah, you've got this massive open world, all right, where I was like, when I was streaming, I was saying to people like, look at this, the world is vanishing and popping back in when I'm doing like turning around and looking at things. You have glitches popping in general. You have texture issues. You have loads of the ridey Pokemon that you ride, they sometimes vanish. There's so many issues. Like the towns are quite nice, right? But then you have these really bland fucking buildings throughout the towns, and then the few buildings you go into are just little boxes with a person
you
in.
can't
You go in
houses, can you?
No, the few you do go in
that.
are shit. It's just like one room with a person standing by a cow going, yeah, you can do the gym challenge. Oh, okay, thank you. Like, they introduced, like, in my opinion, Nimona is probably the best rival you've had in a few generations, because I wasn't a big fan of Hop and How, or whatever his name is. And basically, she's like Goku of the Pokemon world. She just wants to fucking fight and get stronger. But like I said, fun game, enjoyable game, but it's a step backwards in some of the ways Arceus kind of freshened things up. So it's a step back from that. And then with the half-assed attempt at making an open world that doesn't fall apart, it kind of really puts a dampener on finally getting a game I've wanted for over 20 years, you know?
I almost think like Game Freak they know that no matter what they put out, it'll sell. It's almost like they don't really care.
It does seem that way.
It's like,
if that's not the case,
whatever they put
like
out, it's going to sell like gangbusters.
Yeah. And that is why it is the most disappointing game of 2022 for me. I enjoyed it. But again, at the end of the day, when your game runs like a piece of shit, then you're not going to be happy with it. You're going to be disappointed. And when it's one of the gaming franchises that you played as a child, and every generation of the games you've played, when you finally get in something you've wanted as when you were a young, well, not a young kid, but a kid, a teenager, and you finally get in it, and it's like, yeah, you've got it, but, you know, it's kind of like technically shit.
Yeah.
So, you know, the technical aspects of the game are shit, not that it's technically shit, if that makes sense. So, yeah, that's my most disappointing game of 2022. It's a shame, but, you know, what can you do? Hopefully they'll actually pull their fingers out and patch it to make it better, but it's still always going to be disappointing because of that.
Yeah, that's a shame, but yeah, it seems because I heard lots of good things about Pokemon Arceus or Arceus or Arceus or whatever.
You say Arceus on this year podcast. I think it's Arceus, but no, we say Arceus.
I say arse ears. Like ears on your ass.
It's like if we ever get a Pokemon Bowie, it's going to be, is it Bowie, Bowie?
I mean, it'll be Bowie, clearly.
That's how he pronounced it.
True. Yeah. Well, I did get corrected by iLLfiNiTy that it was Bowie.
Yeah, that's how he actually pronounced it himself. So
I just called him Die.
Maybe a little bit of respect, Jeff, if you could, please.
Oh,
yeah, I'm sure I saw an interview with him where he said it was Bowie like the knife.
And
We're
it's
all learning
actually,
and growing.
it's actually David, not David.
David.
David Bowie.
Just drops the accent on the second word.
Shall we move on to the next segment? One thing I wanted to mention, we can be quick with this one if you want to, is I was going to ask you all a game that you played last year that isn't so much your favorite game of any way, but you think it's kind of like underlooked, not on many people's radar. So for me, I'll just start with me because it's easier to give an example. It's not my game of the year. I think I know whose game of the year is, but for me, a game that I genuinely really enjoyed, that I think is overlooked, is Infernax. Cracking game. But I don't want to really talk about it, but that game is really good. I played through it like 5-6 times, something like that. I really do that with games. Cracking.
All right, I am adding that to the wish list.
Yeah, Infernax is awesome.
It's on Game Pass, by the way.
So good.
Oh, even better.
Yeah. We'll start with Prinny this time. Is there any game from last year that you would like to say, go out and fucking play it?
yeah. It was a indie game that I tried out, and I actually played it on my bro's PS5. I believe it was called White Lies.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, White Lies. Yeah, so it's an indie game, and it's a bit like Little Nightmares. So that's how
nice.
it kind of plays out. Do you remember? I think you watched, perhaps, me play it.
Yeah, I'm awful with names of games, but you know.
But it's like Little Nightmares. You know how like everything's moving and it's coming together like a story. So it was, I think in total maybe less than 20 hours.
Oh, nice.
And it was just so beautiful, and you didn't know what was going on. You didn't even know what you were at the beginning of the game, but it all shapes out that you're a little baby crow, and for some reason you've escaped this factory, but you're trying to figure out why did you escape the factory and why are you trying to get back in now. And as you grow, you start to learn about this factory, what's around it, what's in it, and it's all this massive allegory on class differences, poverty versus wealth, and that the crows were actually seen as the lesser part of society, and they were used as slaves. And yeah,
I thought it was going to be like a pie factory, like, you know, blackbirds baked in a pie.
Well, there were pigs. There were pigs and other things, but the thing was, you're looking at it through your perspective, and you're a little baby crow. But as you grow older, because you're trying to get back into the factory, because that's where your family is, and they're all enslaved, you start to see things differently. Right. And it's not as simple as black and white. And you realise that the pigs aren't just harmless and they're eating. The pigs are like the slave drivers, and your family are literally being worked to death.
So you're a crow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the pigs are pink pigs?
No, it's black and white game.
Are the what pigs white?
Shaded, I guess.
No, I'm just saying. I think it's more about like, you know, fucking, you know, you're saying the crows were slaves, the pigs were bastards. I was just saying, is it like a history lesson on just how shitty things used to be, as well as class and that?
Sounds like a bit like Animal Farm almost.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Have you heard of Animal
Farm?
Farm? Is it meant to be people shagging other animals?
No,
I missed that part.
The famous novel.
Yeah, I know that's effective.
No, it's all
so-
class based and things like
Well,
that.
that's kind of what the book
socialism.
Animal Farm is about, where it's like set on a farm and like they overthrow the kind of tyrannical farmer to make all animals equal, but then like pigs make up all the rules, and then they start changing the rules to suit themselves. So it just ends up just basically the history repeats itself, and the pigs become the tyrants.
Ah, that's interesting.
It's a good book. There's a good animated version of it as well.
It's baby.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant to watch. It's
'Cause-
quite scary, but yeah.
Yeah, because don't like parents take their kids to it thinking it'd be like a
Yeah, I think
children's
so.
film,
Yeah,
and
it's not a kids' film like by any
Definitely
stretch.
not.
No.
Yeah.
then,
But
Yeah,
what was it
so-
called? White Noise.
White Lies.
White Lies.
Yeah. And so there's no sound in it. And when there is sound, it's like really dramatic, old school kind of music. So it's almost like there's silence, and it's only when you're getting to the crux of where you're going or what you're doing, you start to hear something, and it's really moving. It's hard to explain. It's like a experience. Like you feel like you've at the end of the game, you feel like you've learned something, like you've taken something away from the game. So yeah.
What did you say you played this on? I keep just finding a board game.
PS5.
Okay.
Sounds interesting, actually. You know, something I might actually have a look into then. White Lies.
Yeah.
Cool. How does it go about the social aspect then? Because a lot of things that try and do like a social aspect thing so are kind of a two in your face. Like a bit of subtlety goes a long way. It kind of gets the point across in a way that feels organic instead of it just being pushed at you. Is it more subtle than just being like, no, this is how it is? You know?
Yeah, it's very subtle. It's got loads of imagery dotted around it, and you notice it and you start piecing it together.
Oh, that sounds really cool. I'm gonna have a look at that.
Can I just say I totally misread the name. It's White Shadows. Sorry, White Shadows. That's why you
Okay.
can find iLLfiNiTy.
Thank
I
you.
just literally, I went back onto it to check it just to make
White
sure. But
shadows. Right.
I was
Nice.
just telling white lies.
White shadows. iLLfiNiTy. What about you?
Right.
What game would you say is a game that is kind of not on people's radar that should be?
I'm gonna do it real quick because I have two, and they're both very different types of games. The first one is called A Musical Story. It's a short, really neat looking, artistic. I mean, it almost looks like a painting as the images and the gameplay goes through. But you're basically a version of what you might say is like a Jimi Hendrix character. You're in a band. There's no dialogue, so all the story is told through music. And
Nice.
it's basically a sort of a rhythmic music game. So you'll have this, you'll have these different scenarios or scenes that take place. Then when you're up to like play the game, there's kind of this wheel of nodes that circle around the screen, and you have to like repeat what you hear the first time. And so it's like 60s, 70s, really cool kind of groovy music. And yeah, it's telling a story the whole way through. There's some parts where it gets quite a bit darker, even a little bit surreal at times, a little psychedelic. So I mean, a really, really cool game that I would definitely recommend people check out. And a shorter one.
That's cool.
So Ash, if you're listening, A Musical Story, rhythm game. And then the other one for me would be The Last Hero of Nostalgaia. That is a Souls-like game that's set up in a pixelated world that bounces back between pixelation and, more in-depth graphics, but it's basically a world of video games. So everything is a reference to like all the great video games you could think of. You can get armor that's from the kitchen's cook, which is Master Chef armor. So with basically a version of, Master Chief armor and just like every single thing you see in the game, armors, weapons, all of it is like references to different video games, and that was a ton of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Out of the two, then, which would you recommend most?
Ooh. God, that's tough. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say A Musical Story, because I feel like less people have probably heard of that one, and I really did have a lot of fun with that. It was some really cool music.
Yeah. So one of them sounds more, to me, from what you just described, one of them sounds more of an experience, the other sounds more of a game, like a typical game then, if that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah, because there are parts that can be kind of challenging or tricky for A Musical Story, but yeah, it's more of an experience to enjoy the music and the art and kind of visually take in the story without dialogue and getting to enjoy it be told that way. Because I've always loved that sort of stuff. You go back to like Pink Panther and the different cartoons that were just told to you without any dialogue.
Yeah.
So I've always really got a kick out of that stuff, and letting music be how it expresses itself, if you will.
Yeah. I'm assuming you mean the Pink Panther cartoons.
Yes, yeah. Never saw the Steve Martin junk. I don't mind Steve Martin, but I did not care to see those movies.
Yeah, obviously there was films before that as well.
Yeah, there was the old.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I can't remember the guy's name. Peter Sellers.
Yeah.
Also, Jeffy, isn't your girl in one of those newer Pink Panther movies too?
You're my girl, iLLfiNiTy.
Oh.
Judi Dench. Is that who you meant?
For the
Oh, it's
True.
Judi Dench in one of her movies.
See?
Beyonce was in one of those.
Oh, was she? Oh,
For
but
a game
Pedz,
that's probably-
turn this into a Pink Panther watch party now.
Pink Panther, the conundrum of the missing ring. Is that what it's called, the film?
the mystery of the small prick.
I think we know where the ring is.
I didn't think it was big enough. I didn't think it was small enough for that.
The game I played last year that maybe not on people's radars and should be because it's a lot of fun. I've just kind of looked at most of what I played is a Donut County.
Oh, it's a great game.
Donut
So you
County
actually-
is so much fun.
Yeah, look fun.
The way that I'll describe it is, it's almost like Katamari Damacy, but instead of rolling around a ball, you control a hole. So like it's like a hole in the ground that like swallows everything up,
Sort
and
of a
then the more you
giant
swallow
Jeff.
up, the more stuff the hole swallows up, the bigger it gets. So I kind of like Katamari where the ball grows, and you can start swallowing bigger stuff. And you pretty much, it's really simple gameplay. You just got to destroy like the region you're in by eating gradually bigger and bigger stuff, and it's a lot of fun. Basically the character you play as is this like jerk raccoon who thinks he's selling donuts. But he doesn't even know what donuts are. To him, donuts are holes in the ground that eat everything.
Yeah,
It's
I played it. It's
so
a good
much
game.
fun. And by the way, it's really really short as well. Like I played it I completed it in like one stream. It's like maybe a 4 or 5 hour game maybe.
Yeah, it's a short
But a
game.
lot of fun though.
It's a lot of, yeah.
There's a little bit of replay value to it as well because there's some cool if you're into your achievements and your trophies. There's some cool achievements in it. Like there's like a bit of a boss fight at the end. If you get a perfect on the boss fight, there's an achievement for that sort of thing. But yeah, I'd really recommend it.
Really nice to find some good games that aren't 40 plus hours too.
Oh yeah, definitely. I did play another game last year that was quite similar, but just not quite as good, called Rain on Your Parade.
Oh, that was on Game Pass. It's not anymore, is it?
It was, yeah. Where
I think
in Rain
Donut
on Your
County still
Parade,
is it?
you play a rain cloud, and you've just got to basically annoy people and ruin their day. But that in particular does have a cool mission in it that like it spoofs Metal Gear Solid, where you've got to like sneak around this military base, and it's all like the guards are all kind of like have like a cone of vision, like Metal Gear Solid style, and when they see you, it's like, and they get like the exclamation mark above their head and stuff.
That's cool.
But mainly though, I would recommend Donut County.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree
yeah.
with that. I would agree with you there.
That's my vote.
It's on Game Pass, I think, or at least it was.
It was when I played it.
Yeah, it was when I was played it as well.
That's
I
how I
played
played
it after.
it.
I think
So,
that's
yeah,
the
go
good thing
play-
about
go
Game
play-
Pass
go
and
to Company.
PS Plus and services like that is you can play some of the smaller games that you wouldn't normally look at. So
Yeah, you can take a punt on something without needing to pay for it, and so it doesn't really matter if you like it or don't like it.
yeah,
Like if it's a bit, I don't really like
Uh,
that. Doesn't matter. You haven't paid for it, have you?
exactly. And if you do like it and you want to buy it, you can. Like I bought
Yep.
Nobody Saves the World, which people should check out as well.
That is fun as well. I need to get that finished.
Yeah, especially as it's leaving Game Pass on the 15th January, which is tomorrow.
What's the thing is, if you buy it while it's still on Game Pass, you get a discount, don't you?
Yeah, 10%.
Not a massive discount then.
No. Jeff, do you have a game that you would say everyone should check out because none of us did?
Besides Tree Simulator.
Small Brick
It's
Simulator.
Oh,
That's going to be a thing forever now.
It'll go one day, don't you worry. Just got to find the right person. Pedz. Yeah, but it's a little known game called Elden Ring. Don't know whether you've heard of it.
no, what's that like?
I don't know. I've not actually played it. I'd say it's for free. This one, Sonic Triple Trouble, 16-bit fan remake. And
Oh,
if it is
nice.
Kind of a 2D Sonic game. They sort of put the Game Gear game, made it 16-bit, made it widescreen, put in special stages, gave it Sega Genesis accurate colour and sound. And yeah, it's a pretty cool game. Completely fan made, or a fan sort of remade it into 16-bit. So
It's fully made from the ground up as well, and you don't need to go
Yeah.
and download. Convert your Master System Game Gear cartridge, into a ROM file and then patch the ROM file. It's literally just download that.
yeah.
Yeah, I haven't played it, which is strange because I thought I would have.
Yeah, it's really fun. I've never really been a big fan of 8-bit Sonic games.
Disgusting.
I know. Although I did enjoy when you had me play Sonic 1 8-bit. That's completed that for the first time a few years ago.
I play that pretty regularly. It's like my comfort food game.
That's one thing I'll say about the first Master System Sonic game is a lot of people will play the first level and be like, "Oh, this is just a shit version of the Mega Drive game or Genesis for those in America and Canada, maybe. Yeah, Canada. They're like, yeah, because it's Green Hill Zone, so like, yeah, it's just a really bad version of the Mega Drive game. But if you play beyond that, you'll realize that nearly every level after that is not a level that's based on
The music is so good.
not based on the Mega Drive games. Like, yeah, it has got Scrap Brain Zone, it has got Labyrinth Zone, but like Scrap Brain Zone, the music is so much better in the Master System. Yeah, and the
Jungle
Bridge Zone.
Stage 1, the music's so good. Well, because by is it Yuzo Koshiro, isn't it?
Yeah, the guy who did Saints Row.
Rage. Yeah, well,
Streets
because the game's
Rage.
it's made by his company, Ancient.
Yeah.
I think it might be his wife. I think was the director on it.
Yeah, oh, nice. So you're
Sonic
saying
2,
we should check it out?
Is a bit ropey.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with that.
That's a bit rough around the edges. It's a good game, but it's a bit rough.
Chaos is better. Is it Chaos? Yeah,
Yeah,
Chaos.
Chaos is really good.
Yeah.
I need to get all the emeralds in that one day.
And Triple Trouble 16-bit is worth checking out. So say Jeff.
Speaking of kind of weird Master System and Game Gear games, I learned yesterday. I seen an advert on Twitter for a company who does PAL Master System cartridges of primarily Japanese exclusive Game Gear games,
Oh, that's cool.
including the very excellent Sylvan Tale.
I've never heard of it.
It's like a Zelda clone. It looks like witchcraft. For it to be a Master System / Game Gear game, if you see how good it looks, It's
I'll have to
witchcraft.
check it out.
It shouldn't look that good. It's a very, very good game.
Yeah, my other suggestion will be, as you said, Small Prick Simulator.
And it's just Jeff's OnlyFans.
Yeah.
Oh my
OnlyFans. I was gonna say OnlyFans at Jeff, but I don't know how OnlyFans works because I don't go on there. So
Yeah, Jeff, we're not here to plug our own stuff here. You're gonna have to-
Hey, 50% off if you click the link in the description. I'll send you the link later, Pedz.
cheers, dude. Right. Moving on. Obviously, we're going to get to Game of the Years soon, but before that, we'll go for favorite game you played in 2022 that was not released in the year 2022. So you could even say The Legend of Zelda, Adventure of Link, if you really want to. If you're fucking insane, but you could say it. At least someone got what I was on about. We'll start
Adventure
with.
Link's not a bad game.
It's not a good game either, let's be honest.
I don't know. I think it's got its charms.
Yeah, like when Link's walking around and a woman goes, "Hey, come in my bed and I'll heal you up."
Yeah, I was gonna say he does spend a lot of time with hookers in that game.
iLLfiNiTy, we'll start with you this time. But name me a game that you
Ooh,
loved that wasn't released last year.
I'll have to fire through because there's going to be a couple again. But Mario 3D World, I had played some of that before, but I played through that this year, and that was a ton of fun. I love that. I love that game. A lot of neat levels, and just them adding in a lot of the different, I guess, Mario mechanics from older games all into that. So had a great time with that. Oh, I had one more before this other one. What the hell was it? I'm looking at my list here. Oh, Ori and the Blind Forest. I absolutely love that. I figured I would, but I'm also not crazy about Metroidvanias for the most part.
What is wrong with
No.
people on this podcast? You got Jeff, who doesn't like the Sega Sonic Master System games. Il, who's like, yeah, Metroidvanias suck. It's like, what the fuck?
I shouldn't say that I dislike them. A lot of times it's hard for me to finish them when I start having to backtrack or figure out things that I've forgotten.
Yeah.
For example, I'm like near the end of Blasphemous, and I haven't picked it back up in a few months now because I know I'm going to be running all around trying to figure out, something that I missed along the way. Also another really great game though. And then one that I've always heard so many people talk about how much they hate it, and I had an amazing time playing, was Resident Evil 6.
Oh, no.
The schlockiness, the over-the-top ridiculousness. Like, I felt like I was in a mid-90s Michael Bay movie. It was it was so ridiculous, man. The game had me cracking up.
It's a bad game, but I played through it with Jasm, and I enjoyed playing through it, but I don't think it was because of the game was enjoyable. It was because me and Jasm enjoyed making fun of the game. Did you play through it in co-op?
Yes, I played it co-op, so that's definitely a part of it. Because it's so cheesy and so over the top, the things that happen in that game. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it's stupid. Did you ever crash the plane?
God, did we crash the plane?
The cutscene is awful.
For the cutscene.
I'm surprised with the Resi 6. Like I said, it was enjoyable playing it with Jasm a couple of years ago, but I don't think it's a good game. But
yeah, I could see that being a lot different if I was playing through it solo.
Yeah. Who's your favorite character?
Oh, what? Hold on. Let me look up names real quick. The sidekick boyo. I'm trying to think of his name. 1 second. It's gonna come up here. The guy that ran with Chris Redfield.
Yeah, that's fine. I was just making sure you weren't going to say Jake, because if you did say Jake, I would have to remove you from the podcast right now. Fuck that guy.
I passed the test. Piers. Yeah, Piers is probably my favorite character. and a wild ending to the tale for him.
Yeah, it was.
I was also the one playing as Pierce, so I got to enjoy that too.
Oh, nice. I think Jasm played as him when we played through it, and he died on the last level like 20 odd times. It was fucking hilarious. Prinny, tell me a game that you loved from last year that came out before last year.
Oh, it was. I'm gonna go with Chrono Cross
Oh, nice.
because the remaster came out last year, and I never played the original. So, and I'd already like outraged the whole of Twitch because I didn't play Trigger before. So I just kind of went into this game not knowing why everyone was raging at me and why everyone hated it. So I played it blind, didn't care about the original game, and I really liked it. And I don't know. I think it was my top played game of the year actually because I'd done so many hours on it.
So wait. Have you played Trigger at all?
No,
That's weird.
see,
Prinny.
When I first started like emulating stuff, Chrono Trigger was one of the first like ROMs that I actually played through completely.
this is the
Yeah,
thing.
he
I
got it from Sex and played it on the SNES.
No, yeah, but we didn't have it. I mean, yeah, I don't have a working PC, so I would have never have got hold of it. Anyway, when I was younger, I never like it. Maybe it came before my time. I don't know. It's
I just
not a
finished
game
it
I'd
for the
ever
first
heard
time
of.
10 days ago, so don't worry
I
about
know. So this is the thing. I have seen people play it, but I didn't know there was a massive hype about it. I didn't know there was such a big like history behind it. It was like the penultimate JRPG that kind of made the genre so big. And so I played Chrono Cross, and apparently it was the failed sequel. But then I hear so many mixed reviews on it. I hear people say, "Oh, it's not really related. Oh, it is related. Oh, it's loosely related." And I'm like, "Well, who cares then? I'm just gonna play it, and if I like it, I like it." And I did. And everyone's like, "Yeah, but you change your opinion if you play Trigger." I was like, "Well, what if I liked both? Like, what's the big deal?" I'm sure there's people on this planet who like both games, but I think I might be one of the majority that actually like this one. And I didn't expect to because I have always had a soft spot for the 2D pixelated sprite JRPGs. So I reckon if I sat down and I have. So Jeff's kindly lent me his OG copy for the DS. So I'm gonna sit down when I'm in the mood, do like bang out 5-6 hours per session and finish it. And I think I'll like it properly if I do it myself because watching people on stream doing it is always a different feel. And
Yeah.
Just a
I
heads
think
up.
because everyone's been banging on about how amazing it is, I'm just like, yeah, I'm not gonna like playing it on stream. And anyway, I can't anyway.
If you're gonna play Chrono Trigger in like 6-hour sessions, you'll probably finish it in like 2 or 3 sessions.
Which is fine for me because
For an RPG, it's very, very short, which is kind of what makes it. That's one of its really good points. It's not a huge undertaking to play it.
so this takes me back to why I really like Chrono Cross. So I've put in 100 hours into that game, and a lot of people are like, "What? What are you doing?" And I was like, apparently I'm taking a long time to do dungeons, or I'm not actually purposely grinding. I'm not. There were a few bits where when I figured out to make boss fights easier, I needed certain elements. So I did a tiny bit of farming, but I really haven't. I've not done anything off stream or anything. Anything I've done is on stream, and I've enjoyed every moment of it, and it hasn't felt like a chore. And that's why, for me, I think this is like a really good game because you can collect up to 45 people, but you can only get 45 people after you've done one playthrough, so you have to do at least 2, and then there's like several endings. So for me, I'm quite excited to play it a second and a third time. Yeah, it's great. I'm excited about because I've just finished it now, and I mean it has been a long run, and I reckon I'll finish it a lot quicker in my second run. But yeah, I'm not at all bothered, and I like the art. I even like the fact it's 3D. I think maybe I've lucked out and I played the remaster. I prefer the look of it. I know the art, you can have a look at the original art. They've got a new version of the art, which they've done the similar thing to the remaster of Suikoden when that comes out again. And I think it's an interesting feature. I think it's neat. And also this one includes the remaster includes what is it called? Radical Dreamers, the text-based game which links Trigger to Cross.
Oh, right. I didn't know there was a game.
Yeah, that was
did.
previously a Satellaview exclusive.
Yeah, so so I think looking at the hours, and I've never once felt bored and gone, oh, when is this game going to end? I've just loved every moment of it. And maybe it's because I have that soft spot for the Suikoden franchise that I really got into this.
Yeah,
the whole collection.
I do wonder that if another reason why you got into it so much in comparison to say other people is because you never played Chrono Cross, Chrono Trigger, and you went straight into Chrono Cross. You didn't have the expectations of people who were massively into Chrono Trigger who went into Chrono Cross and felt a bit disappointed by it. Because they loved Chrono Trigger so much. Like, I never finished Chrono Trigger because I'm a twat. So, you know, there you go.
Yeah, but I mean, I will definitely play it and I will enjoy it regardless, because now that I know that there's like a loose connection, I'll be excited every time I see those things come up. And it's a shame though, because I do like long JRPGs, so I'll probably whiz through Trigger so quick and I'll be like, oh, that's left me unsatisfied. I definitely prefer Chrono Cross. So I reckon that's what's going to happen when I complete it. But it's fine. I know I'll enjoy it.
Didn't you say size doesn't matter?
I did.
Prinny, you're making Jeff feel sad.
No. What do you mean? Look, iLLfiNiTy, if you finished it yet, right? How many streams did it take you to do?
I think 4. Like, I'm pretty sure it was under 20 hours. I can look right here because I got Steam open. How many hours do we have on that? Okay, I had 30 hours, but I think I had some downtime where it was sitting open.
Yeah, that's fine.
It goes fast, though. I'd say probably about 20 hours.
I think it's because you get engulfed into it, right? And you just want to carry on.
There's no random, there's very few instances where there's random encounters. And then a lot of the areas you clear out, like, those enemies don't respawn. So the game just, it keeps moving. There's not a lot of fat to it, which is one of the things I love about it.
Okay. There you go. My opinion might be different next year, but clinical.
Jeff.
Hello.
Did I ask you what 2022 game you loved that wasn't in 2022, but you played during 2022? Because you need to tell us right now.
Yeah, you can. I had one ready to spit out straight away. And
you're not spitting up.
Get it out of your mouth.
No.
Wait, I know what the problem is. Ask the person who's going to serve you coffee. They will spit it out for you.
I don't know what you're on about. iLLfiNiTy, if you bought your friend coffee, or if your friend bought you coffee, would you keep disrespecting your friend?
Would I keep what?
If your friend bought you some coffee,
yeah,
would you disrespect your friend?
No, I don't think I would.
Okay, what about if your friend then told the barista to spit in the coffee?
I don't know what you're on about. I did enjoy playing Shovel Knight. Well, that was a cool game. That wasn't 2022, was it?
Yeah, you played that last year. With Shovel Knight, did you play just the Shovel Knight story, or did you play through the other ones as well?
Just a Shovel Knight so far.
Because obviously I think there's Plague Knight, some other night.
There's about 4 or 5 now, isn't there?
Something like that. Yeah. I think it's 4.
I didn't like the Plague Knight one. I didn't like his moveset at all.
I've only played Shovel Knight. I've not played the other ones. But Shovel Knight's a good shout, Jeff.
Which version did you play?
It's on Steam.
Is the Steam version the same as the Switch version, so there's no extra content in it?
I have no idea.
I think if you
The
bought
Xbox
it,
version and the PlayStation version have extra content.
the PC, I think if you bought it before, like the Treasure Trove or whatever it was called came out. So basically, if you bought it by a certain point, then every update with new content would be free.
No, because
If it
what
didn't-
I mean is because the Xbox version has Battletoads in it.
Ah, right. I
And
don't
the
think the
PlayStation
Steam
version has
does.
Kratos.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't think so.
It's like a hidden area in each version where I think you unlock an exclusive costume, like an armor set.
Oh, that's cool.
Because I played the PlayStation version, so you unlock like a Kratos themed set of armor.
Yeah, guessing from God of War, not
Yeah.
God of War. That's not confusing. Greek God of War, not Norse God of War.
No, well, that's the same character.
No, I mean the armor. The armor is probably from the Greek version of
I
it.
mean, he's
That
not
makes
much
sense.
different.
Well, he probably got more fur on the Norse one. I haven't played it. He got a furry dick instead of a silky dick.
It's kind of more like a
Like
white suit of armor
thing.
with like with a red sort of stripe down it, like kind of like it's more like Kratos' like color scheme.
Ah, right, fair enough.
Yeah, he
And,
starts out pretty much the same, and then he collects different shit.
Yeah, and just a quick one. I did enjoy doing Final Fantasy X-2 last mission, which was sort of like Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Bit of a strange gameplay style, but yeah, I enjoyed doing that.
Is Mystery Dungeon is I can't remember, like random fucking
Yeah,
levels
like
in there
Procedurally
and stuff like that.
generated.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
randomly
procedurally generated
generated.
levels.
It's like
Yeah.
Azure Dreams.
And you get different items and job classes. It is a fun little mode.
So what is that, like a side game that came with the collection, or
Yeah, but it's so it was originally released in Japan only. As part of Final Fantasy X-2, and then during the remaster it got included in the remaster that came out. So yeah, it's sort of like an epilogue to X-2, set a couple of years after.
very different style of game then, because obviously
Yeah.
Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, because I think I've played a little bit of one of them. It's more kind of, I was going to say like Diablo, but it's not like Diablo, is it? It's just like
Roguelike.
it's not fucking. It's not a typical JRPG in the combat. You don't go into random battles or.
No, it's a bit more like FIFA in a sense.
I'm assuming.
Also,
when I
it's
say
a
Mystery
sports
Dungeon,
game.
It's every time you move a direction, that's a turn. But everything on the map moves at the same time as you do. So like everything
Yeah.
else moves one square at the same time as you move. Is how it generally works. And then like to attack, you generally just bump into things.
Yeah, so there's 80 floors. On each floor, you've got to find the elevator, but there's also different items. Like you can find different dress spheres to upgrade your job classes. You can find stuff that can combine with job spheres to level them up, and different items and stuff. Every time you move, the enemies move about, and then you can do like commands to attack, or which takes up a turn, or use a spell, stuff like that.
That was a long mission.
It was, but it was like almost an entire game, like a short game, but you know, I think maybe 6 hours ish.
6 hours of just crawling through a dungeon, killing shit.
Yep.
Pretty much.
Nothing wrong with that. Out of the games here, I've not played any of them other than Infernax and Donut County. So, but yeah, no, they were the other
Elden
section
Ring.
and Elden Ring. So yeah, we've had a lot of games. So yeah, we'll move on to Game of the Year. This is probably going to be the
Yeah, I haven't said what game I've
Have
played
you?
from that yet. No,
really.
I don't think I have.
All right, what was that then?
I'm going to go with What Remains of Edith Finch.
Remains of Edith Finch.
Oh, yeah,
that's
I
One of
great.
those walking
that.
simulators, which I don't usually play, but it was a Game Pass quest. So I started playing it for a Game Pass quest, then I realised it was only a few hours long. So I thought, well, I might as well finish it, and it's really, really enjoyable. The whole premise of it is you play this character who goes back to her childhood home that she hasn't been to for quite some time because she doesn't really get on with her family. Her family's a bit kooky, and you get to this house, and it's a bit like the in Harry Potter that they have the burrow where the Weasley family live, and they keep just adding bits to it, so it looks all kind of hodgepodge.
Yeah.
That's what their house is like. Every time a new person is born into the house, they add to the house to make it bigger. And you get to the house, when you first get there, it's all locked. And you've got to like find keys to each room, like each family member's room, and you learn the story of like the life and death of each of their family members. And every little section of the game, so every family member has their part of the game has a different art style. And one in particular, it's done in the style of the old Tales from the Crypt comics.
Oh.
And it looks brilliant. And then you learn all the story of how our family came to like sort of live and die and whatnot. And then there's a really good little twist right at the end. Like things aren't quite what you think they are. No, yeah, I'd really recommend it. Again, it's very, very short.
Yeah, I played through that myself last year. I don't think I streamed. I can't remember if I streamed or not, but I remember really enjoying it. I've not played a lot of walking simulators, but Firewatch is another one I played that I enjoyed as well. So
Firewatch is good as well. I agree.
yeah, What Remains of Edith Finch is a good one.
But I kind of wonder because maybe I do like walking simulators because I'm like, well, hang on, I like Firewatch. I like What Remains of Edith Finch. I liked what I played of Ether 1, but the version that launched on PlayStation, that was on PS Plus, there was something wrong with the save system in it, and it was bugged. So I never went back to it. But I think it's been fixed now. Like
Right.
Ether 1 has a pretty cool concept. It's set in the mind of someone with dementia.
All right.
And you're piecing together like the fragments of their kind of messed up memory to try and like separate fact from fiction, sort of thing.
That sounds quite interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my game that I enjoyed last year that wasn't from last year.
And I agree that it's a good one to choose because it is a very good game. We'll move on then to Game of the Year. We will start. Who wants to go first? Who wants to tell me what their favourite game that was released in 2022, that they played in 2022, basically the Game of the Year for 2022? Who should we start with? Who wants to put their hand up? Remember, I can't see you.
Things off.
Okay, iLLfiNiTy.
Go ahead.
Go on then, dude.
So the incredibly close second would have to be the Cuphead DLC. Though my only complaint is that I wish it was longer. I knew it wasn't going to be nearly as long as the main game, but I was a little sad that I was able to just knock that out in like the 4 or 5 hours or whatever it was. But still fantastic. I just wish there was more. Sad to accept the fact that that's probably going to be it for Cuphead. My number one game of the year was one we heard brought up early on in this podcast, and that is Elden Ring for me. Over 100 hours in it, just on my one main character, and yeah, I loved it.
So what was it about Elden Ring that grabbed you?
It reminded him of Jawas Anus.
I just recently got into
Sorry.
Souls games. Like, my first Souls game ever was playing Demon Souls on PS5 towards the end of 21, and then finishing that like in early 22. So that one was a huge learning curve for me. Obviously, just realizing how tricky, how difficult those games can be. Having to block, because blocking is like never my favorite mechanic, or sneaking around in any game. But once we got like, a third to halfway through that game, it really started kind of clicking. And then, yeah, Elden Ring, I just loved being able to create my character. I basically played a version of Kefka, if anyone's familiar from Final Fantasy VI. That's what I designed my character like. I played the caster. And yeah, I mean, just open world. You can, for the most part, go anywhere. Like Cumber said earlier, there are parts where it's story driven and you're kind of locked into having to go through certain sections. There's also what felt like to me a pretty hard bump up in difficulty. You kind of hit a spike there. It feels like. I don't really want to say because I don't want to spoil it for people that haven't played it. But that was a hurdle that we had to get over. But yeah, all in all,
it was just full of nasty difficulty spikes. That's another thing why I wasn't really keen on it, because I think the difficulty balancing wasn't very good.
Yeah.
See,
I'll say the giant. When you get to the giant, that was like the big difficulty spike for me, at least for I guess my character and how I had them set up to that point.
Elden Ring is also my game of the year, in all honesty. I've played Dark Souls, Bloodborne, Demon Souls, Dark Souls 3, Sekiro, and out of them all, I've only ever finished Dark Souls 1, and that took me until like a year or two ago to finish it, when I played through it all, and I got it on release day and just never got into it. I enjoyed it for like a couple of hours and then just fell off the game. So Elden Ring, going into that after finishing like falling off every single other one apart from Dark Souls eventually, I really, really enjoyed the game. I agree with you that there are difficulty spikes, but I find that with the games, it's like, it's weird. When I played through Elden Ring and when I played through Dark Souls, it wasn't so much I'd find there was weird difficulty spikes all over the place. It would be, I would find something difficult more than other people would, and other people would be struggling on parts that I did quite easily. It's like different parts of the game would be more difficult for different people, and not just with different builds. Like when I played through Dark Souls, for example, I know I'm talking about Dark Souls, not Elden Ring. I played through Dark Souls and killed things fairly easily in comparison to, say, Matt King, who who people might know from the streams. But he killed things that I struggled with more, and I think we both had similar builds, and I think it's the same with Dark Souls. It's like the way you play it maybe is what's hindering you, I guess, because, and it's not like a get good kind of thing. It's more maybe your approach is not as effective against this specific boss, whereas my approach might not be as effective against a boss that you found piss easy. Like these bosses I've killed like first time that people have struggled with, and then there's bosses like Calamite in fucking Dark Souls. I literally spent 3 hours or so trying to kill that fucking dragon and get his bastard tail off. And then you had people saying I killed it on my second or third go. And
yeah, what's funny is like when I streamed Dark Souls 1, I really hyped up how hard Calamite was, because I'd only ever killed him once before, back on the PS3, and it was with after lots of tries. And I was like, oh, I really don't want to fight this guy. And then on stream, I just walked in there and killed him first try.
Yeah,
and I was like, really?
What's that knight that's in the DLC area as well?
Fume Knight in Dark Souls 2.
No, in the first game. I think it's a knight. It's like
Artorias.
Yeah, I think that's the one. I killed it on like the third attempt, and like Devlin and people were like, I'm really disappointed because people usually really struggle with this, and I killed it on like the third attempt. So I think
in the Dark Souls 2 DLC, there's a boss called Fume Knight who's like widely regarded as maybe one of the hardest bosses in the series.
Yeah, and
I killed him first try.
See, that's the thing. I don't think
went there and spanked him.
It's a weird game where it's like it feels like difficulty spikes, but people tend to have different issues with different bosses. The only one I remember,
playstyle, won't they?
yeah, I think one boss that I think that a lot of people seem to struggle with, which I never actually fought. I played the game for like 90 odd hours and I missed shitloads. It's a game that I would like to go back to at some point and maybe do another run. Is Melina or Melia or something like that?
Millennia. Yeah, Millennia is tough.
Yeah, a lot of people are meant to have struggled with her because she's supposed to have like really cheap attacks that kill you in like
she
one hit
heals
or
as
something.
she attacks you.
Ah, right, yeah. Yeah, I never fought her, but generally speaking, I had massive fun with that game. And when I did hit a brick wall, I would just fuck off for a bit, go do some other shit and come back.
See, yes, I was saying it's cool when you can do that, but it comes to a point where you can't anymore because you've done everything.
Yeah, well, when I got to the point where I got stuck in a point where it goes Dark Souls-like in the sense of you have to follow a kind of strict path. It's like quite near the end of the game, and I think I spent a few streams doing that, and like the rest of the streams were just doing things in the world.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed my time with it. Had I put in as much time as you, I wouldn't know if I'd have enjoyed it as much, but I will say I did also make a second character while I was playing the game, a mage-styled character, and was also playing that because I wanted to play the game, but I couldn't stream all the time. When I wasn't able to stream, I would just sit down and just play that for a bit as a different character, which I've never done with a Dark Souls game. I've never even started New Game Plus. Because I'm like, and I've only ever finished Dark Souls. So, there you go.
I actually did start New Game Plus in Elden Ring because just purely to kill that guy on the horse at the start.
He is a
because of how much
dickhead.
bother he gave me when I first played it. I was like, right, you're fucking dead, mate.
Yeah, he was a dick. So yeah,
Even the so-called first boss in that game was a dick. I don't think you were meant to go to that castle at the start. I think the game trolls you.
yeah,
I think it makes you think you should go to that castle first, when really you should go toward the coast.
yeah. I would agree with that. Yeah.
But yeah, that was just kind of my exploring nature, where it's like I saw where it was pointing me, so I took the time to fight the tree sentinel right away. I think that was my first like 30 deaths before I finally killed him. And then then we went back around the coast. It was like I'm going everywhere but this castle area up here.
Funnily enough,
approach,
the
I would say.
first tree sentinel I fought destroyed me for fucking hours. And then I think most of the tree sentinels I come across after, I think there was even one point where there was 2 tree sentinels I didn't really have much issues with. It's weird.
Yeah.
Because you learnt Memo because you have equipment.
Because I'm fucking awesome,
No.
Jeff.
I didn't take that into account, my bad.
It's okay. You were probably thinking with your tiny pricker gun.
Like God,
Yeah,
there was one boss, particularly in Elden Ring, and it was called Malekith.
Right.
It started out as like there was a really ugly guy you could find in a temple. He would
Nice.
sometimes attack you if you talk to him too much.
I'm not in a temple.
But then you go to this boss room and he's the boss. But then you defeat his first form, and then it's a big black knight guy.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't find a chance to hit him. I was constantly just blocking and healing. I couldn't get a hit in, and that was like probably the closest I got to just like going, nah, I'm done.
Ah, shit. Yeah, there was
I
different
just
points.
couldn't find the
struggled
window
through.
to do any damage. All I was doing was like just like managing my health, blocking and healing.
I did find that sometimes it was hard on some bosses to judge when to attack because a lot of the time the attacks were well telegraphed and you know, like, right, block or dodge or something. But then sometimes, for some reason, I don't know if it's random or if it's just like something they do and you should know it, but sometimes they like swing as if they're going to attack you, but for some reason it'll like slow down or they'll stop as if they're charging up as they're in the middle of the swing. So then you have dodged and then it's too and you're like, yeah, I've dodged, and then all of a sudden they whack you because the timing kind of changes. I think that is one thing I had with the game, but you know, that's just, I guess, learning the ropes, I guess. You know? But yeah, I loved Elden Ring. I'm with Ilya. It's definitely my game of the year. Nice one, Il.
Yeah.
I think I'm sort of torn between 2 games, I would say, from the game of the year. One of them, this is going to be second. It's a close second. Is Shredder's Revenge.
Oh, that's a
Ninja
good
Turtles
Shredder's
game.
Revenge. That's a quality game. That is like a labor of love.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
developers really knew what they were doing. Like I'm guessing fans of the original kind of Turtles beat 'em ups and that style of game in general, and it showed. They did such a good job with it. Like the soundtrack was amazing, the gameplay was amazing, just everything about it, fantastic game. But the one that just takes it is Infernax. Infernax is so good. For a game that I only learned of it because I saw somebody else stream it. I can't quite remember who it was, but I saw somebody stream it and I was like, ooh, this looks good. And then I spotted that it was on Game Pass and I was like, oh, it's on Game Pass. Give it a try. And yeah, it is a fantastic game. The way I describe it is it's like Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2 had a baby, only it came out as a good game. And that sums it up.
Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2 had a baby. Unfortunately, this baby had all the good components.
Yep. It takes like the what those two games did and just does it right. It's even got like a really good Easter egg, which is a reference to Castlevania 2, where there's an infamous spot in Castlevania 2 where you've got to kneel in front of a wall for like 10 seconds and then like a cyclone takes you to the next area. There's a bit in Infernax where there's like a gag that references that, where you just literally kneel in front of a wall for 10 seconds, and then the game goes, "What? You thought something was going to happen?" And it has one of what I think is one of the funniest features to unlock at the end of the game. When you finish the game, if anyone's like ever played like the old kind of cartridge-based consoles, like the NES, the SNES, the Mega Drive / Genesis, you'll remember the Game Genie, which was like for putting cheat codes into your games, or action replays, those sort of things. Well, when you finish Infernax, you unlock the Game Wizard, which is like an in-game Game Genie, and like you can put different codes in to do all kinds of daft stuff. Like you can unlock like a motorbike to drive through the game with. You can have like a jetpack. But the best thing in it is the game's already really, really gory. You can unlock like the extra gory mode, which is just ridiculous.
The amount of blood that comes out of a normal enemy is more than what comes out of a boss when you put that mode
it's
on.
insane. There's just like
stupid.
blood just spewing out of like a little zombie will stab him and it's like a fountain of blood coming out of it.
You two have me absolutely sold on this. It'll be one of the next games I play.
Oh, seriously, you'll like it.
I already installed it.
It's such a good game.
It is cracking. I cannot disagree with anything Cumberdanes has said. It is
really,
good. It
really
can
beautiful
be
as well. Like the backgrounds, it's got really good parallax scrolling in the backgrounds as well.
Yeah.
Like the different layers to the background. Oh, so good.
Yeah, the only one thing I will say is it's not a negative thing, but be prepared to die a fair few times because it can be tricky, man, and quite difficult in places.
What I would say as well, if you're going to play it now, you're playing it at the right time because there was a big update a few months back that added a lot to it, like quality of life stuff, like an auto save when you finish a dungeon.
Oh, that's good because
in the version I played, when you finished a dungeon, you had to work your way back to the entrance to save.
Yeah.
No.
Whereas now, once you kill a boss, it auto saves.
Yeah, before you kill the boss, and then if you're on your way back and you die, you...
So many of my deaths were like just trailing back to the exit after either finishing a boss or like running out of health potions and like trying to get out back to the shop to buy more health potions, and you'd be like on your last life, and you'd be like, just no, don't fall in the pit. Ah! But then the other cool thing about it is all the deaths have a cool little unique death animation.
Yeah.
Like you get a little silhouette of your guy dying in kind of an over-the-top fashion, like drowning or getting decapitated and such. But even death is actually quite fun in it.
Yeah, it's a cracking game. Yeah, you should definitely install it. Jeff, Prinny, if you've got Game Pass, get it. If you haven't got Game Pass, then get a Game Pass.
Just buy it. It's worth buying.
Yeah, it's definitely worth buying. I might pick it up myself just to have it in my collection of digital games.
Nice.
It's definitely worth playing. Definitely.
So yeah, that's yeah, by quite a stretch, that's my game of the year, Infernax. And it only just made it into the year. I think it came out in February 22.
Yeah, it was an early game of the year, wasn't it? I remember playing it at the time and saying, so far this is, top fucking notch.
Yeah, so far, this is game of the year. I hope no Elden Ring comes out.
Oh, I would put it. I would put
when I
it.
played Elden Ring. I think Elden Ring was worse than COVID.
I'll be honest. Infernax is a very, very close second for me, behind Elden Ring. Very close. I loved it. Like I said, I played it to the completion to get like 5 different endings. I think.
I think I only did it twice. I think I got the basic good ending and then the really good ending. Because yeah, that's the thing as well. There's a hidden behind the scenes morality system in it. So what actions you take determine what quests you can take on as you progress, and what ending you get. I think there's like a good ending, a true good ending, an evil ending, a true evil ending. I think there might be another one as well.
Yeah, I think there is. I think I did 5 endings, and I'm not sure if I got them all. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, but
very, very recommended.
Yeah, very good game. Second game of the year for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Prinny, what was your game of the year?
So for me, it was that little old indie game with a ginger cat. So Stray.
Looks like Garfield card.
I was going to say something.
Garfield lasagna party.
Not a Stray. Garfield is very well kept.
I was trying to think of a game with a ginger person in it, so I got to make a joke about a ginger cat, but I couldn't think of one.
That Star Wars game has got a ginger person in it.
Yeah, but he hasn't got a cat, I don't think.
He's got a robot. It could be a cat.
That's not the kind of cat
what
I
was
meant.
it about this game that you liked, Penny?
So I already, funnily enough, another streamer, Tomoxy, had showed me the trailer. It was like, oh my god, this is the next best game, and I was like, whoa, what the hell? So the fact that it was in a futuristic setting, no humans are left, and it's just the robots carrying on their life, but there's just this random cat running around the town. And so from the first moment you play it, you're with your crew, and then you get lost and you're kind of running really fast and you're trying to avoid like falling down. And then at first it's just, you're kind of like being just a normal cat, and then other things come and interfere. And then you start to realize that meowing, the language, was actually quite handy in the game. So every like kitty thing you would do was useful. There's even sleeping for over several hours where you just leave the cat on the sleep mode, you just leave the controller. So it was just really quite fluid, and a lot of the gameplay, there was puzzles to be done, the running around parts, looking at nature was really pretty. Speaking to the robots, like you can activate those different conversations. You can also encourage, there's one specific character which plays the guitar, and you can find different like music sheets and get him to play bits, and then the cat would just randomly start purring along or just sit with him and stuff like that. So I really like that it was very true to an actual animal, because I've played loads of different games like Tokyo Jungle and stuff like that. So this was like a whole new level like of closeness to like a cat. What was another thing that I really liked about it? He finds a little friend later on that helps him out, and then he gets kitted out with a weapon. That I didn't expect to happen. So you go from just feline reflexes to don't know what's going on, just run and hide, to I've got a gun now. Just thanks for that. But it was just really fun because the way I find it is if it's a bit too hard, like for example Elden Ring, and I know that's something that a lot of people love, the fact that it's so ridiculously hard. What I liked about Stray was you could just fluidly just play the game, and most of the hard part was figuring out the puzzles and putting it together. Otherwise, you could just play the game, and it was quite a short game, right? Because I know Pedz played it as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did too.
Oh, you played it as well, yeah. So that's what I mean. It's quite a quick game, but the thing was, it was such an enjoyable game. You replayed it, you wanted to play it more, and then look at different aspects of it, or unlock all the trophies and stuff. And it didn't feel like a chore either. I only played it once through, but like I don't even know, is there more than one ending? But I would probably play it again even if it is the same ending, because it was just a fun ride.
And you got to be a cat. You got to straight up knock things off people's counters. Like, you could be a real dick in that game. It was great.
Yeah, there's a bit where you could just hit stuff and there's no reason to, just because you're a cat. Yeah.
Did you find the one dude that you could actually trip up and make him fall down that was walking through the city?
Oh yeah, I like that one.
Yeah.
And then there was another bit where you were, oh god, that was really funny. And then there was a bit where there's paint on the ceiling, and then I was just doing it for shits and giggles, but that was part of the story to drop the paint on one of the robots.
Yeah.
And then he looks up, but you move out of the way, and then he looks at the other robots, and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's so fun. Yeah.
And the musician, there were some really cool songs for that too. The music you found.
Yeah, it was really fun. So it was actually quite grim, like some of the storyline bits between the robots, but then there was some really, really cute and like very emotional moments as well. And it was like, oh, like real well. Apart from they make noises and stuff, like there's no talking or anything. It's just kind of almost like mind reading.
Yeah.
Yeah, I played Stray. I did a review for it actually, as well, and I really enjoyed it. Really good game. Again, is up there in the like games of the year kind of thing for me. It's fucking awesome. Definitely worth playing for those who haven't. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. From start to end, to be honest.
Yeah. And you can now get the physical copy. Before it was impossible to get it one, but yeah. And worth the wait as well, because they kept pushing the date back.
Have you played Stray at all then, Jeff?
I've not played Stray. I've seen streams of it. Not played it.
Nah. Fair enough. What about you, Cumberdanes? Because I saw on PlayStation Plus.
I've not played it. It does look fun though. But what I have heard, a bit of a criticism from the people that have made with it is you can't be enough of a cat.
What do you mean?
I don't know. I think people say there's like not enough freedom to it. You can't just kind of. I think people were maybe expecting more from it. That you could that people were expecting maybe because you're a cat you could just cause a bit more mayhem, and it's all a bit linear.
It is a linear game for the most part. There is like branching off to look for little collectibles and things like that. Yeah. But I have no issues with a linear game. Like, even though I said my game of the year is an open world game, generally speaking, open world games for me are never game of the year because I'd rather a more linear experience.
Yeah, that's fair.
So
yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Like, I usually don't want my game to be a 60+ hour game.
What about Jeff? What did Jeff rate his game of the year?
So I really didn't play many games in 2022 that were released in 2022. I do have one. It does Freedom Planet 2, so I think that's it by default. There was Red Out 2 as well, but I've not played too much of that. But did really like Red Out 1, so I'd have to get into more Red Out 2. But yeah, I guess by default, it's Freedom Planet 2.
Okay,
that was up there for me too.
How did Freedom Planet 2 compare to Freedom Planet? Because I haven't played Freedom Planet 2. I was really looking forward to it for years, and then it completely passed me by even coming out. But I really enjoyed Freedom Planet. I did think, like the original Freedom Planet, not 2. I did think the levels were a bit long in the sense of they could have been maybe split into like 3 levels instead of 2 or something, because they're very, very long levels.
Yeah.
What's 2 like?
So you're still getting long levels in 2 and more of them. But instead of them being split into 2 acts, it's sort of just one long act.
Okay.
And the bosses are put into separate levels as well, or at least the main bosses. So there's no just like one separate boss level every so often. But yeah, I think overall I did prefer it to Freedom Planet. It sort of freshened up gameplay, added more, I guess, combat mechanics.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Is it got as many
stages
difficulty
okay.
spikes? Because personally, love Freedom Planet, but fuck me, were some of the bosses really fucking hard.
Yeah, compared to because Freedom Planet 1, the bosses were horrendously difficult, especially the last one. Nothing on the same. There were a few bosses where I did find it tough, but yeah, I think because you can sort of get items and equip them, like you can have one that increases your shield or stuff like that, so that really helps for difficulty as well.
Oh, nice.
And you can get potions and stuff to that give you boosts and
Yeah, you basically get like 3 parts to the potion, so you could have like different abilities you think would fit for your play style. It was really neat. I thought that was cool.
Is there more playable characters in this then? Because in the first one, there's like 3 or 4.
there's 3 in the first one. There's 4 in the second. So it's got the Lilac the dragon, Carol the cat, and Mila the dog.
Mhm.
And then there's also the panda Nera, who was a boss in the first game, but she's playable in this game.
Does that
I thought it was
weird
interesting.
alien duck guy ever come back, and is he playable?
He
Because he was meant to
doesn't,
be playable in the
actually.
first one, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was supposed to be playable. He was a Kickstarter stretch goal, but they never got him implemented in the end.
Bastards.
Well, I thought what interesting with that was, whereas like the first one, I've not played either of them, but like, from what I've seen of the first one and that one, the first one looks more like a straight up Sonic clone, whereas the second one looks more like a treasure game,
Yeah,
which kind of puts me off because I don't get on with treasure games. It's one of my kind of really hot takes on video games. I think Treasure are a bit of an overrated developer.
Is it Treasure make Gunstar Heroes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking awesome.
Don't-
What about their
I
other
don't
game?
like it.
I love
Don't like
Gunstar
it.
Heroes. Fucking, it's one game. It's probably the only game that I've played every year since I was about 18.
There's only one, maybe 2 games by Treasure that I would say I've played and really enjoyed. One of them was Astro Boy Omega Factor on GBA, and the other one being Wario World on the GameCube. I just don't get on with Treasure's games. Never really have. Like stuff like Alien Soldier, Dynamite Heady, Gunstar Heroes. I like Ikaruga, actually. That's maybe another one. I
Did
wasn't
they
keen
do
on Radiant
Guardian
Silver.
Heroes?
Yeah, I don't like Guardian Heroes either.
I'm not really familiar with it. I just know a lot of people like
I've got it for the 360. I played through it with a friend years ago.
I've got it for the 360. I played like a level or 2. I'm unfamiliar with it after that.
I wasn't keen on Radiant Silver going. I've not played Mischief Makers. I'm not keen on Bangayo. But yeah, never got on with Treasure.
Yeah. But you might get on with this, because it's not an
Maybe.
actual Treasure game.
It's not, but it does look a heck of a lot like one. It looks like they were trying quite hard for that aesthetic, I think.
Yeah, because I think we've brought in new artists for Freedom Planet too. Yeah, I really enjoyed it and as as you said, I sort of forgot it's been released until sort of randomly got sort of announced as like, oh yeah, that's due out.
I didn't even know it was out. The reason why I knew it came out is because I popped into iLLstream and he was playing it, and I was like, oh shit, this is the second one. But I didn't realize that. I better look.
It's got some jams in there too, man. It's got some great music.
Yeah.
But is it as good as Spark the Electric Jester in the sense of, do you randomly have someone at random all of a sudden blurt out twat?
Doesn't have that.
Oh, don't mind him. He's a twat.
If you bring Jeff in on the call, he can make that happen for you.
I would never use such foul language.
But yeah, Freedom Planet 2, I really would like to get to. It's cool that, like, I know it's by default, but it's cool that it is your game of the year. It's as Cumberdanes said, it doesn't seem to be like the first one in the sense of a straight up Sonic clone. This is to Cumberdanes seems more treasure-like. Do you feel that way when you play it? Does it feel more like a treasure title, or does it feel like the same kind of game as the first one, but with a bit more complexity?
It does feel like the first game with more complexity. I couldn't compare it to Treasure because I've not really played too many Treasure games, to be honest.
Just honestly, a random little side note, just with Pedz saying about somebody randomly blurting out twat in something seemingly otherwise innocuous. My attention was drawn to an article recently in The Independent about game age ratings, and apparently, if Super Mario 64 DS was released now, it would have an adults only rating on PEGI because of the gambling mechanics in it.
Wow.
Because there's a bit where you can like gamble coins with Luigi, I believe, in a casino. And yeah, apparently due to the way that the rating rules have changed over the years, if that game came out now, it would have an 18 plus rating.
I guess Pokemon Red and Blue would then. Maybe that's why
they mentioned them as well. Pokemon Red, Blue, and Yellow would all have an 18 plus rating if they were released today.
What's the big deal? Let Luigi support his drug habit. Come on, man.
So yes, it's like the seemingly otherwise innocent game because of just one little thing like that.
So why are games with loot boxes not adult only then?
Well, exactly. But most of them are though. They'll have like a PEGI 16 rating, or they will have a PEGI 18 rating.
Shit.
The likes of say like COD and I don't know what other games have them.
I didn't know that.
I'm not really familiar with loot boxes. I don't really play any games with them in.
No, I think Rocket League kind of had them before. I don't think they do anymore.
Far Cry 5 kind of does, I think.
And Overwatch had them. I don't know about the second game, and I don't know about anything else.
I know in Far Cry 5 you can buy like premium currency, but I don't know if that's for loot boxes or just to buy new gear, which you might unlock anyway.
Yeah, I'm not buying them. Kiss my ass.
Screw that.
Yeah, one of my favourite.
I'll stick with my horse armor. Good old horse armor.
Nay.
Anyone that doesn't know what I'm referring to, it's a notorious piece of DLC that I actually bought. It was the first piece of DLC for Oblivion, and it is literally just armor for your horse, and it was very expensive.
Yeah, Cumberdanes is the reason why we have microtransactions.
It was like a £6.95 piece of DLC, and it's just armor for your horse. For April Fools, they actually increased the price, I believe, 1 year.
Does the armor actually do anything, or is it just aesthetic?
I'm pretty sure it's purely aesthetic.
Monkey Island as well.
Monkey Island, that's a good one. Yeah.
It looks cool, but it does absolutely fit.
I haven't played the newest Monkey Island. It's something, again, I need to get to, but there's just so many games. And there's more games on my list now after tonight, because of you lot, you bastards. Oh. But the takeaway from tonight, right, is Elden Ring is the game of the year, because two of us said it and no one else no one outvoted it. So officially
Yeah,
for the
that's
Pedz
fair.
Game Chat podcast, Elden Ring is the game of the year.
Yeah, that's fair.
FIFA gets RPG of the year.
FIFA gets RPG of the year.
Jeff has a tree fetish. We did learn
Not
that.
sure about
Jeff
that.
has a small prick.
I do not have a tree fetish.
And actually, shouldn't Chrono Cross really be RPG of the year? I know FIFA's great.
I mean, yeah, I guess Chrono Cross would be up there. I haven't played Crisis Core Reunion yet, but that came out.
It's a
Right,
beautiful
22.
remaster. Yeah, I really loved that.
For people who haven't listened to the podcast before, they wouldn't know this. And the people who have listened to the podcast before also wouldn't know this because I've never mentioned it on the podcast. But I've never finished a Final Fantasy game other than Final Fantasy Mystic Quest for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah, but the people who listen to the podcast don't. I've just lost all my street cred.
Oh,
But
I
yeah.
started playing that on stream once. I think somebody requested it. I think it was you.
Yeah, it was.
I
It's
think
a
I might
good
have named my
game.
character. I think I might have named my character Cunto. I think.
It's a good game. It's very linear in comparison to like Final Fantasy. There's no random
it didn't seem
battles
a
and
bad
stuff.
game. I only played like half an hour of it, or maybe an hour, I think.
Yeah, an hour, I think it was,
I
yeah.
might have kept going, but
It's got some
didn't seem a
cracking
bad
music
game.
as well. It's got cracking
So
music.
that's what
in
I've
it.
heard. I think Jasmine says that as well. That it's got a really good soundtrack.
Yeah.
The art style is horrible though. It's an
Ah,
ugly looking game.
that's just SNES games for you. Look at Link to the Past and Super Mario World that everyone seems to hate nowadays. Some weird reason.
I've always thought that Link to the Past had a bit of an ugly art style.
Ugh, no, you as well.
Everything looks a bit wonky in it. Mario World is a nice looking game. Yeah, I've always thought Link to the Past looked funky.
Ethan.
I can't really put my finger on it. Just everything looks a bit off.
Yeah, that's my favorite Zelda game. Damn,
Link to the
man.
Past is my favorite as well.
I still need to play Link Between Worlds.
No, mine would be Ocarina because it's my first. I found this with a few people. You'll often find people's first Zelda game is their favorite one,
Yeah.
and Ocarina was my first, and it's my favorite one.
I think Link to the Past may have been my first one as well, but I'm not sure if I played Link's Awakening first.
Yeah,
I
I
only
think
beat
Link's Awakening was
First
my
time this
favourite.
year. Well, last year on the Switch.
We had, in my house, we had 1 and 2 on the NES, but I wasn't old enough to know what the hell I was doing in that, so.
Well, the NES wasn't really a thing in the UK. It
I had a
was
NES.
nowhere near as popular as it
No,
was like in America or Japan.
Sega was a lot more of.
Well, yeah, because you had Sega, which was much more affordable, and then you had like the home computer
PCs,
market.
yeah.
Like we never had like the video game crash where like when like Atari started putting out too much stuff and the whole market crashed and Nintendo came to save the day. That never happened in the UK. I hadn't even heard of that until I think I saw someone on YouTube do a video about it.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't a thing because we had like home computers, the likes of like the Sinclair Spectrum, the Commodore 64, the Amstrad CPC, and then like things like the Master System did really well here.
Yeah, about the only thing I can tell you about the NES was that I made my dad quit playing video games because I deleted his Zelda save twice.
Oh no,
And he had the maps and everything.
no!
And so that's when he quit playing video games.
I only beat.
no.
I think, when did I beat Zelda 1 for the first time? I only beat Zelda 1 for the first time 2 or 3 years ago. I got pretty far in it.
And delete your save after.
Probably. I got pretty far in it a few times, but never quite beat it.
To be honest, I don't think I've ever finished it.
And I'll be honest, every time I played it in the past, I've tried to do it blind. But when I sat down to say, right, I'm actually going to finish this, I used a guide for it.
You basically have to, man. There's some shit that it's like,
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no way you're gonna figure it out.
It's so obtuse. Like some of the clues
Yeah.
the NPCs give you are so vague. Like there's some NPC guy who goes, "Oh, the secret is in the nose," and unless you're actually looking at the map and realize that the map is shaped like I think it's like a dragon's head or something. One of the maps. and there's a secret in the tip of the nose of the dragon. What would be the dragon's nose on the map?
Yeah, I know to get to one of the dungeons, you just have to randomly move one of the blocks a certain way. And then,
Yeah,
you know,
there's
it just
so much really obtuse stuff that you would
Yeah.
never know. It's
Yeah.
definitely what I've heard people call it a Nintendo Power game. Like you needed like the guide that Nintendo Power would publish.
I remember my friend, not this isn't about Zelda, back when I was 17 and we were living in a flat together, me and my friend. I had a NES, and he decided to buy himself some NES games to play on my NES, which was fine. It was in the living room, people could play on it.
Yeah.
And he bought Metroid. And he played through it, and he painstakingly drew out a map as he was playing
That's
through
impressive. I watch a streamer that does that sort of thing. He plays like old like dungeon crawler PC RPGs, like Wizardry, that sort of thing.
it. Yeah.
And he draws out like the maps himself as he plays it.
That's exactly what he did. He just drawing it as he was going along through Metroid. I was like,
Like,
fuck
he's got
that.
like a squared paper, like graph paper.
I think he used normal plain paper because
Wow. Yeah, he at least uses graph paper, so it's kind of easier to do.
Yeah, it would be.
'Cause he
yeah.
did the same when he played Phantasy Star. He mapped out Phantasy Star as well.
Oh, nice.
Whereas now I think now if you get like you can get the version on the Switch which has like an auto map mode in it.
Oh, that's good. That's better. Easier
Yeah.
as well. You know, time. It's less time consuming. I think we're going to end here as we've been going for longer than I expected. At nearly 2.5
I
hours.
mean, that's kind of my fault because I was a bit late. I do apologize.
No, that's no problem.
Yeah, we get talking games, it's easy to go.
Exactly.
I
At
was
the end
having
of the
some
day.
tech issues.
Yeah. Your
And
laptop
I was actually
being
about to go to
bastards.
bed because like Pedz didn't message me.
Yeah, it was my fault. I meant to say like.
I got a message Pedz a while ago. I was like, "Oh, dude, when are we starting?" And I was like, "Oh, I haven't heard anything. I might just go to
Yeah,
bed."
I was watching something with the missus, and then I noticed. I was like, "Oh shit! No,
I was
it's not no."
I was up really early this morning. I'm shattered.
Well, technically speaking, you're up yesterday morning because it's 2:30.
Well, I'm
Quarter
gonna
to
say
two,
early,
quarter to
early by
two.
my standards because I'm not a morning person at all.
Nah, same here.
If I didn't have to work, I'd quite happily just sleep till like 1 p.m. every day.
I'd sleep till 1 a.m. and probably get up till 8 a.m. and then go back to bed.
No, I'm gonna say p.m. Like I would quite happily sleep till after lunchtime.
I used to
and
enjoy like going out. Like when I used to hang around with my friends, we used to hang around in the nights and we'd like go to bed in the day, go out in the night. When it was fucking quiet and you could like walk up the roads because there'd be no cars or people. It's great.
See, I used to think when I used to like go out, I got to like bars and clubs and stuff like a few years back. I used to think nothing of like walking home or like on my own at like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and it was just what you did.
Yeah.
But I find the older that I get, I'm like, that's really foolish.
Yeah.
Like you hear so many stories of people getting like jumped like down dark alleyways and like subways and stuff. And I think the amount of times like I've walked home from Sunderland City Centre like on my own and that like early in the morning, nobody about. Like how many times I could have just been like knifed, robbed, anything. So now I wouldn't even think of it. I would always get a taxi. I don't even like being about really like too late at night. Not even like 1 o'clock in the morning sort of time. Like past 10 when it's starting to get dark. I'll get a taxi home.
That's understandable, man.
Thanks for the podcast, Pedz.
No problem. Like I said, we are going to end now as we've been going for 2.5 hours. But I would like to start with Jeff and say, please plug your Twitch channel and anything else.
It's onlyfans.co.uk/Jeffyard. It's /Morpic.
It's actually twitch.tv /Jeffyard.
Thanks.
Prinny, have you got anything you would like to plug? Twitch channel, YouTube channel?
So off the top of my head, my Twitch is twitch.tv/doomed_Prinny. I do have a YouTube. I've got like a few like random interviews with like voice actors and Dr. Eggman
Ooh.
and stuff like that. If you
What,
just
Jim Carrey?
no, the voice actor.
Michael Pollock.
I
Yeah,
was wanting for Jim Carrey.
Mm, I would have said Jim Carrey then.
She turned him down.
He doesn't. He's like retired anyway. He only does Sonic now. That's it. Done
Yeah.
for his kids. Which is good. That means he's gonna come back for the next Sonic, which is great. Yeah. So yeah, you can find my link to my YouTube through my Twitter. My Twitter is twitter.com/Hades_Kitty, and that's me.
iLLfiNiTy, plug away, dude.
Twitch.tv/iLLfiNiTy, iLLfiNiTy. And I've got some music out there, so basically any of the digital platforms, if you search iLLfiNiTy, it should show up. Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, Amazon Music, like any of that stuff. So, yeah. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Cumberdanes, plug away, dude.
Nice and simple with me. Everything's Cumberdanes. They've got Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Cumberdanes. I'm on Twitter @Cumberdanes, or feel free to add me on PSN or Xbox Live, also Cumberdanes.
That's it then. Thank you all for taking part. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. It's actually been a very good laugh. And quite insightful into how you lot think, especially about Jeff Smallprick. Sorry, I couldn't resist bringing up one last time. But yeah, thanks everyone for taking part. It's been a pleasure, as always, speaking with you. And also, iLLfiNiTy's the first time on you, so thank you very much.
Yeah, would love to do it again anytime.
Yeah,
Let me
definitely,
know.
man. Yeah, definitely. The format is usually different, though. Normally it's like 3 sections that are like talking about playing games, then talking about some news, then talking about a very specific game that's picked specifically for the podcast to play and talk about. So
Nice. Sounds good.
yeah, I would, like I said, thanks again. We will be back in a fortnight. And that's it. Unless anyone wants to add anything themselves.
I am not a leaf. Bye, guys.
He's
a
done
camel.
with leaves now.
Done.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Boy.
Can you lot hear the dog snoring from over here? Because a lot of the time you get picked up over the mic.
Yeah,
Like,
the dog.
I'm surprised you'll probably pick up like one really noisy housemate.
but no,
If you pick him up.
there's been plenty of times where I've been doing the podcast and all of a sudden you'll just hear in the background and it's like,
You do hear it on
Seriously?
stream sometimes, which is funny.
just dog snoring. It's like, really, dude? Oh, I think he needs to wear my sleep
He's
apnea
just
mask more than me.
It's just copying Doomspoon. He saw Doomspoon do it and he's like, right, I'm doing that.
Yeah, I've fallen asleep on stream before myself, but you know, I have a medical condition and that's why. So fuck you all.
I've been close to falling asleep on stream.
the one time I fell asleep
But I
on
was
stream.
probably hammered, so
Yeah, the one time I fell asleep on stream, I was talking to Matt and Grum, and we were playing Sea of Thieves, and I genuinely remember saying that, right, I'm catch you later, Terrara and stuff, and I thought I ended the stream, and then all of a sudden I heard Matt say something, and I was like, wait, haven't I ended the stream? And they're like, no. I was like, ah.
No, I once accidentally went live on Facebook in my sleep. That was funny.
I
And I only
remember.
knew about it the next day because my senior manager was like, "Oh, cool video, dude," and I'm like, "What? Cool video? What do you mean?" She's like, "Go on Facebook." And she like commented on it or something. And I'm like, "Oh my god!"
I
It
remember.
was just like an hour-long video of just like me snoring.
Oh, damn. That sucks, man. I remember watching a Twitch stream where a guy was playing games and then he fell asleep. And then for some reason he woke up, but obviously not properly awake. He then collected his camera, took it upstairs to bed with him, put it down, and rolled over in his bed and went to sleep, recording him, streaming himself. It's like, what the
Nice.
fuck?
It could be worse. You could have like gone like Dark Side Phil style.